Those life support folks are operating on a high moral ground. Saving lives is a good thing, is it not? Think about it. Now this. If you thought booking your timeshare was difficult before, you know it's almost impossible now. For more than a decade, Lone Star Transfer has helped thousands of owners legally and permanently get out of their never-ending timeshare fees. Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. For free, no-obligation consultation, please call 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
This hour of the Vic Porcelli Show brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Well, howdy do, Ken Williams.
The sauce.
The sauce of the pain.
We were
not
impersonating
Sebastian Gorka.
Yeah, that's what we were doing. We were impersonating Sebastian Gorka before we opened the mic.
It's kind of like one of the highlights of the year. When you guys threw the mic over to me, I am Nick Schroer, Senator Nick Schroer, host of Stain and Fight, every Sunday, 8 to 10 p.m. But every Tuesday, when you guys have me on, we've got anything goes. Anything goes.
Pretty much, yeah.
I've kind of, that's the relationship that I love with you all is, look, no holds barred. You can ask me anything, even to impersonate Sebastian Gorka. The source of the pain. Do you think, like, at Christmas morning, and I love the guy, Sebastian, I'm not making fun of him.
No.
If my
We're
voice
having
was
fun
like
with
that,
him.
with him,
Yeah.
I am jealous of that voice. Because if it's Christmas morning, girls, it's time to get up for Christmas morning.
Well, when you talk about being jealous of voices, Vic is the champion.
Oh.
Anytime you hear someone with a full voice like that, he's like, I hate him. I just hate him.
Well, Vic's got an iconic voice.
Well, of course he does.
I mean,
But he
Porcelli's Deli.
He always talks about one of the people from NCPPR, Dr. Bonner Cohen.
Okay.
I can't do it. I can't even. It's about.
You'll have to pull up a clip. I don't know who you're talking about.
It's one of our guests, and he has an extremely amazing voice.
Okay.
But it's very low. I mean, really low.
Well, we're going to play a clip here in the next couple minutes, so you're going to get ready for the weirdest voice that I've heard in a long time, straight out of World War II, maybe World War III. It's going to be a fun clip that, in the show prep, especially when you're sitting in for such an icon like Vic Porcelli, as we are today. Ken is sending over some clips of things that we might be talking about, and one of them happens to be clip number 5 we're going to be playing with here soon, but it's going to be a packed full day full of information, insanity, a look back on 2023. We're going to have Jamey Murphy, the Chief of Chiefs, is going to be with us in the last part of the 10 o'clock hour. We've got a couple other guests as well that we're going to be dealing with, but I think we've got to kick it off appropriately with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Absolutely.
Now, I saw yesterday where Tony kind of started laughing halfway through.
Yeah, he looked at me, and I think I messed him up.
Okay.
And then that's when I said, okay, I'll continue with it.
Well, we're going to do it together just in case we have that moment.
No, not at all. No problem.
So does Vic sip the coffee first, or is that after?
No, that's after.
Okay.
Yeah, because we want to, if you're in your car, of course, you can't stand up, but if you'd like to stand up and put your hand on your heart, and then we're going to
You can identify as standing up.
Yeah.
And you can identify that there's a flag in front of you on Highway 70 or Far or wherever you are. So put your hands over your hearts. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You can just hear the Eagles.
And I got to touch the flag because Vic touches it every morning.
He walks over there after the pledge?
No, he has his own flag he puts up every day.
Okay. Hopefully it's not one of the LGBT rainbow flags. It's an actual stars and stripes.
American stars and stripes. This flag was given to Vic and I from Mark Harder.
Okay.
We actually got it. It was hanging in our nation's capital.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this is the
Well, we'll have to get you one that hangs above the Missouri State Capitol.
I would love it.
We will take care of that. And
Really?
I'm going to put in a request with Jamey when he gets here. Session is next week. So we go back into the 2024 legislative session kicks off January 3rd. A lot of people are saying nothing's going to get done. Some people are saying because, and I might be in the middle here, because there's so many statewide candidates running. There's so many individuals that are leading the Senate, leading the House, that now they're going to be on a Republican ballot to out-conservative one another and be the more conservative, more Republican one. So hopefully we can use that to our advantage, we the people can, in getting tax cuts done and taking care of the crime in the city of St. Louis and addressing so many other issues. But before I jump into this clip, and this clip disturbed me on several accounts, what he was saying, the voice, how was your Christmas? How was your Christmas? The daddy of daughters, Ken Williams. Yeah, I saw the pictures of the family getting back together. I still have all my birds in a nest, but they're growing up quick.
Yeah.
So how was it having all the family back together for Christmas?
One thing you're going to find out, Nick, as your little girls get older, you're just going to miss them. They're always going to be your little girls. I told my girls this weekend. One's 20, going on 24. The other one's going on 21. And one's in her job in Kentucky. The other one's in college still. And they both came home, and they knew that was the most important thing to me. I got gifts. You know what? But that was the gift.
Right.
My wife and my two daughters together with me. You know what was really weird is that this Christmas for my family was a little bit hectic. It was a little bit crazy. We didn't get all the things done that we wanted to, but one common denominator was that we were all together. And that made it all, everything else around us slowed down. It was like, as long as we went to Grant's farm, you saw that picture.
Yeah.
We sat there, we walked around. It
was a beautiful day for it too on
it
Christmas.
It was amazing. And then, but we still had a lot of stuff going on around us and everything, but everything just slowed down. We talked, they filled us in on what, they got us up to speed on everything. And it was just great. Man,
it seems like it flies by, just parenthood. And seeing your girls, mine are now 9 and 6. And it seems like a Christmas ago, they were in diapers and, asking for certain baby toys, and now they're wanting earrings and makeup and all sorts of stuff. So I had a call with Santa to say, yeah, not yet. Let's postpone that for a little bit.
Can I make a suggestion? And
yes.
I want to make this to all of our lovely listeners. I mean, these people are amazing. You got a lot of new families and people with kids that are, your age and younger, your daughter's ages and younger. One thing that I did that today I adore is I videotaped every Christmas. I videotaped every chance I got with soccer, softball, dance classes. I was a nut. My wife laughs about it now, but it was pretty intense for a while. And the girls knew that I was going to be videotaping. Well, I've got all those videotapes now. We just watched a couple of them, and there were tears of laughter and just tears of just missing that moment, Well,
even I've got two phones. I've got a personal phone and then a phone for my legal business that I do. And both of my phones are darn near to the brink of capacity on videos and pictures, because whether it's the stuff that I'm designing for the apparel company that we're going to launch next year, or just the pictures and the videos that I'm taking, even Christmas, I'm sitting there videoing them to the point where they're getting embarrassed. Like, Dad, come on, you've already, but I want to look back on it. I had the Polaroid pictures that my parents had put in an album. We don't have that anymore.
No.
But now we've got jump drives and thumb drives full of, pictures from when they were in diapers up to now. Even yesterday, with the first snow of the year, I guess, of the season. It probably snowed sometime in January in 2023. But the first snow of the season, they were so ecstatic because they blamed Joe Biden for the brown Christmas that we had. They heard somebody on one of the breaks here on News Talk STL 1019 94.1 talking about, well, it's not going to be a white Christmas, but you can count on a brown Christmas. It's going to be rain. So they were so ecstatic yesterday to see the snow falling. And I had to break the phone out and get them. I had to get them. I know Vic's got a new puppy. We've got a foster
Sally
fail.
Bones, buddy.
Sally Bones has to meet Moki, the new pit bull puppy that we have, a foster fail. But she was even out there trying to get the snowflakes. But let's jump into it, because I know I'm going to forget it. We're going to talk about family all day long.
Yeah, just all you Vic heads, take video.
Just take video, take pictures. You're going to thank us later. You're not going to thank us for this voice that you're going to hear. Wait until you get a glimpse of what he's saying. After you get past this robotic, monotone, it's like the European male version of Siri. Just go ahead and play clip 5.
Systems are harming the health of people and planet. Food systems contribute to over 30% of greenhouse gas emissions.
He's talking about food systems, by the way.
Food systems, yeah.
And account for almost 1/3 of the global burden of disease. Transforming food systems is therefore essential. By shifting towards healthier, diversified, and more plant-based diets, I'm therefore very pleased that over 130 countries have signed the COP28 UAE Declaration on Climate and Health.
Well, let's stop right there. This is the World Health Organization, the COP28. We discussed this a couple weeks ago on Stand and Fight, and if you missed it, go back to Rumble, News Talk, STL, anywhere podcasts are found. We were talking about this COP28. That's where John Kerry was saying, yeah, we're going to get rid of fossil fuels. We're going to stop the mining. We're going to stop all the things that are producing gasoline.
Farmers.
Well, and then when you look deeper, it's the farmers. And the World Health Organization, teaming with this One World Order, this is further evidence today when you look at what the Biden administration has done with the lab-created meats, using bugs to feed people now. I mean, this is going along with COP28, which is part of the One World Order scheme. It's not the tinfoil hat wearers. Look it up. COP28. John Kerry himself was out there making promises, writing checks that his melted face can't cash. And this is something that scares the heck out of me. Farming, it not only is a vital industry for Missouri. I mean, agriculture, farming, it is something that is separating us from other nations. Other nations are relying upon our food industry. And now you have, I shared it just the other day, an outbreak of ticks. Outbreak of ticks from Asia that are killing hordes of livestock because they're able to have 20,000 babies at a time without the necessity of a male. Mind you, I don't know how that happens. This is immaculate conception of ticks. And they're sucking so much blood out of these cows, they're just dropping dead. So what is next? We've got COP28 saying, hey, greenhouse gases, cow farts, they're killing everybody. Eat the lab-created meat. Eat the soylent green. Like this is disturbing on many levels to me, outside of the guy's scary voice.
And Nick, this is not just some secretary of the World Health Organization. This is the Director General of the World Health Organization talking about
Schicklgruber.
His name is General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. And
he's from Star Wars.
I think so.
we need Gabe back in here to see what episode.
These are the people that are talking. They're saying this stuff. Klaus Schwab is saying this stuff. John Kerry is saying these things. Bill Gates is actually talking about these things. Bill Gates is buying up more property, more farmland than any other human being in the world, in the history of the world right now in the United States.
That's the scary part, too, when you look at the products he's putting on shelves right now, that this coating for vegetables, Apeel, that's one of the companies. And it's reported that it's in Costco, it's in Sam's, it's in Walmart. So if you're doing DoorDash or whatever it is, or Instacart, make sure you look at your groceries because it's on avocados, it's on apples and other fruits. It is a coating that is impacting, when you put it in your body, you can't wash it off. They've already said it. You cannot wash it off. You have to damn near scrape the thing off. But nobody knows the impact, the long-term effects that ingesting those chemicals will have on your body. And when it's coming from the same guy who's telling you to eat lab-created meat, to eat the bugs, to inject yourself with something that nobody knows what the COVID shot was going to do to us.
Well, notice what they did. They introduced bugs 2 years ago, at least. It's funny how the Biden administration comes in, the Obama-Biden administration comes into effect, and then suddenly the World Health Organization gains all this power. Klaus Schwab starts getting a bigger stage to talk on. John Kerry, of course, he's right with them. But think about this for a second. They introduced the bugs. They're floating balloons. They're wanting to see what hoops you can.
It's not just China.
No. They're wanting to see what hoops you'll jump through. And that includes that lab-created meat that nobody wanted. My suggestion, everybody, is don't jump through those hoops. Just don't accept it.
We're going to have a bill. We already have a bill. We've got it filed. Senator Jill Carter, she has a bill filed. And I know Maisie Christensen, previously Maisie Boyd in the House, has a bill filed on just that, on transparency. Look, if you want to create lab-created meat, we're a free country.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do it. But at least inform us. Don't try to masquerade this as, the safest cow eating the grass that you could ever see. It's not been tainted with any hormones. No, tell us what it is. If it's bugs, lab-created meat, tell us that. If it's got GMOs, tell us that. I mean, just be transparent with the people.
And if you want to eat bugs, go ahead. I think it's great if you enjoy bugs. I know, I'm going to say that. You know those cicadas?
Yeah.
I know a man who collects them when they come into the season. It's not me. But he dries them and eats them. Yeah. And that's a thing for him. That's a delicacy. He's Vietnamese, and it's a delicacy from their country.
And that's the thing. If you want to do that, and
great.
Same point as Bruce Jenner. Look, if you want to win the gold medal and then grow up as an adult and decide that you want to transform your body and have breast implants, go for it. But when you start messing with our kids, when you start pushing these mandates on us to eat the bugs, to allow our kids to transition in these certain ways, that's where we draw the line. We're going to have a lot of lines drawn today. Like I mentioned, Jamey Murphy will be in to highlight what happened 2023 in the House, the Senate, the governor's office, the outlook for 2024. We're going to have Nate Lucas, host of 590 The Fan, and Mark McCloskey. After a grueling court decision, we're going to bring him in on fire. Mark McCloskey on fire. I'm not the only one dealing with flamethrowers. We've got the man, the myth, the Mark McCloskey going to join us here in about 20 minutes. Stick with us. News Talk STL 1019 94.1. Keep standing, keep fighting on the Vic Porcelli Show.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Being the guy who's pushing them out.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL.
So you and your spouse have been in your home, 30 years now, right? Time to sell it. Time to get out. Maybe something smaller if all the kids are left. You're empty nesters. I get it. So get it. Now, if you do want to sell the home, there's only one phone call you'll have to make, lucky for you, and that's a phone call to the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway. Individually, they are Rodney and Jen Wallner, a couple that have been married, and they know that family life, and they know what's good for family life, and they will help you sell that home. Matter of fact, they have so many approved home buyers ready to pull that trigger that they may sell your house before it even hits the market. Could happen. Wallner Home Selling Team also happens to sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor. That is a darn good stat right there. No obligation. If you decide, I think I want to stay in my home, no problem. And by the way, Missouri and Illinois can both take advantage of the Wallner Home Selling Team. So call them today at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
At John David Jewelers, we invite you to enjoy the holidays with the ones you love. We look forward to servicing you in the new year. At John David Jewelers, we're in the business of making you look good.
In Frontenac, next to the Shack, or at johndavidjewelers.com.
Since 2003, Wounded Warrior Project has helped post 9/11 veterans adjust back to civilian life. Through specialized programs, they begin healing their bodies and minds while regaining a sense of camaraderie. Learn more at woundedwarriorproject.org/possible.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
I don't know where I would get the truth if it weren't for you.
Live and local.
Welcome to the People's Republic of America stand. Here comes another roller coaster, another circus.
This is News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Leave the gun. Technical only.
On NewstalkSTL.
Those who are optimistic now and for the future, just 15% now. And for the year, now, by the way, this is up a little bit on the quarter, but this is the year for the average. 66% being pessimistic now and for the future is a record high in the 17 years we've been doing this. So we've never found people more depressed.
Wow, never found people more depressed than under the Biden administration. Welcome back to the Vic Porcelli Show, 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. I am the notorious flamethrower man himself, Nick Schroer, joined by the icon. We were just talking about all the icons here on News Talk STL. Larry Connors walks through. We've got Vic Porcelli. We've got Ken Williams. The man.
Thanks a lot, man. I'm not quite an icon like they are.
But you've got a tag team championship belt.
No, I do.
You've got like the best show in not only Missouri, I hear. I think it's going nationwide. So this show is something that, it's 2 years ago now? July 19th.
A little over 2.5.
Throwing this all together, I'm hearing that Vic Porcelli's coming to do political radio. I'm like, man, this is a guy who's been on forever. I don't know what are his chops going to be like? Does he have the skin to stand up to all the trolls? And he does.
Oh, yeah.
And it's fun.
And he works hard. He loves it and he works hard. Those are the two things. He loves it and he works hard with it. So it's really fun.
Well, going back to our kids.
It's fun to be working with them.
Going back to our kids, that's something, and I just turned 38 last week. That's something that I tell my girls, look, have fun. I mean, you're going to get pressure to go to college. You're going to get pressure to do this. Do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And what you're good at. Like your job, you don't want to be like this. Like the CNBC clip just said 66% of people are depressed or pessimistic about their futures. Where was that during the Trump years when we were paying $1.65 for gas?
Well, one thing that I did notice, Nick, and I've talked with my daughter about this. She's 24. She's at an age. She's in a profession. She graduated from college. She's a national park ranger. She is.
That's got to be the job.
She loves it. She's
National
going across
parks.
the country. She can move around across the country, free to do whatever she wants, and which includes the possibility of getting a home. Well, with the way interest rates are right now, and with the way it's almost impossible for young people at this point to get a home, to actually purchase a home, that's one of the big complaints, and that's where some of that anxiety is coming from.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the cost of living, the cost of anything. Yeah, your house value on paper is a lot more than it was during the Trump administration, but good luck buying something.
Yeah.
Good luck taking that money and buying something without overpaying. Or go to the grocery store. We were just at Aldi yesterday, me and the girls picking up a couple things. And during the Trump years, I remember filling an entire cart and spending less than $100. Here you get 3 bags of groceries and are spending well over $100.
And how can they exaggerate the way they are and try and tell us, don't look at the prices, don't look at the gas pump, just listen to us. We're telling you.
Inflation. Bidenomics.
Yeah. And that's the problem that I
Well,
have.
I'll
Is
tell you
they're
why.
lying through their teeth
I've got
and they
the
know
answer.
it, but they're doing this to the American people. And you know what the American people are finally saying? Look, I don't know what you're looking at.
Mhm.
I know what I'm looking at the kitchen table every day, and it's not the same.
Well, the same thing when I found out a couple weeks ago, and I reported on this last Monday when I was sitting in for Vic. Look at the gas prices right now. You probably noticed the trend that gas is dropping. A lot of people are saying, well, it's right before the election. And yes, that there is some truth to that. But what's not being reported on, and this is going to answer your question in just a second, but what's not being reported on is, and I think Robert Bluey discussed this last week, Monday's show, they're actually drilling. The Biden administration is implementing the drill baby drill plan that Trump instituted, that the Biden administration attacked. They're secretly drilling now. Go research.
More so than they've been in the past.
100%.
Yeah.
Tenfold over what they've done in the past. Because now all of their trade deals, all of their deals with the Middle Eastern countries that are saying, yeah, no more. We don't want anything to do with you, America. Now we're forced to drill.
Yeah.
And right before the election. But here's exactly why. To your question, why are they able to get away with it? New study out of Syracuse just said that only 3.4% of American journalists are Republican. Only 3.4. Less than 4% of the American journalists that are out there share your philosophical views. And that shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. But it does. We don't have Walter Cronkites anymore.
No. It does matter, and journalism, #journalism is dead. I mean, I put that on everything whenever there's a controversial statement about the mainstream media. Just in case in point this morning, I was, watching the Today Show. I do it every day, so you don't have to.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I do. And Vic and I have actually gotten into the habit of actually watching the Today Show.
Does he watch The View then?
No, I won't go that far.
Okay.
But on the Today Show this morning, they were talking about how, hallelujah, in 2024, get ready because car prices are going down. Well, I'm thinking that really doesn't make sense, but let me hear them out.
Yeah.
Okay. They went to commercial break, came back, and they started talking about electric vehicles. They're going down, Nick. They didn't say why, but they're going down. And I know why. No one's buying them.
Yeah.
That's one thing. They're heavily subsidized by the United States government. Almost half of, if you buy an $80,000 electric vehicle, that $80,000 electric vehicle actually costs $160,000 being subsidized by by you.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's stop fooling ourselves and understand that. They went on to say that, well, large trucks, SUVs, they're going up a little bit.
A little bit?
No, wait a minute. But
okay.
So you got to keep in mind what is the narrative they're trying to get to the American people. Car prices are going down. Well, every other gas-powered car, they're getting rid of what's just a regular, what do they call those?
Like the base models?
No, just a regular car, just a regular
sedan.
Okay,
they're getting rid of them?
That word. They're getting rid of them. Yeah, Ford has basically almost stopped making sedans. So they mentioned that they kept talking about other things, but then they would go back to the EVs and say, but see, these EV prices, they're going down. So they made this big thing, this big headline saying car prices are going down in 2024. But really what they're talking about is nobody's buying the EVs.
Yeah.
And those prices have to come down so they can at least sell some of them. And that's your headline.
Here's an idea. And this is what we've been trying to institute in Missouri politics. Get the government out of private business. The government, look at what Obama did with all of the different mandates to the car industries about, it has to be a certain mile per gallon. It has to be all these safety measures and airbags. Well, what has that done to the cost? It's driven the cost up. It's made it unaffordable to go in and buy a base model car. Like your 16-year-old, what are they going to get? They're going to get a beater now. They're going to get a car that's probably got 150,000 miles because that's the only thing that they can afford, where previously they could go in, buy a Buick Century, an old beater car, base model, cassette, not the CD, no backup cam,
right?
Because they can afford it.
Right.
Same thing is happening with minimum wage. Minimum wage, and we can even look at a report I think you had sent me. I've got to reload it thanks to technology here. But even in California, as Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, the wages, the increases on minimum wage, what is it doing? It's cutting out that bottom rung. It's cutting out jobs that I used to carry of being a dishwasher. Who's doing that now? Robots. White Castle. I had an Uber driver the other day talking about other states where minimum wage has been increased. Guess who's flipping the burgers at White Castle now? And that was a job that had tons of benefits, really good pay for a starting job. Robots.
I remember the women, these lovely women at White Castle who were flipping these things at 90 miles an hour.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
In California, Pizza Hut laid off 1,000 workers just yesterday, I think. Or they're going to be laid off in 2
in California.
weeks.
Yep, that's it.
They're primarily drivers. Why? Because, they decided to make minimum wage $20 an hour, and the companies can't afford this.
Yeah.
So what is the natural progression of what the result of this is that corporations are going to look at the bottom line and going to say, well, we need to get rid of these then. That's business. That has nothing to do with anything else. But you know what they reported? Again, the mainstream media. They said, look what these corporations are doing to these people. This is not about the corporations, Nick. The corporations, that's what they do. They try to make money for their stockholders. That's their job. So they're going to cut that bottom line. But the media made sure that everybody understood that that's that upper 1%. The owners of those companies, the chairmen of those companies are hurting these people.
Well, you hear that now in the state of Missouri, and they had a push that they put on the ballot a couple years ago to increase minimum wage in the state of Missouri. And when we told them, you're going to have these healthcare workers that are, turning people so they don't get bed sores and cleaning individuals in health situations, in-home health situations. And they're now working at Walmart as a greeter. They're working at McDonald's because they're making more to do a less grueling job, a less I don't know. It's something that's mentally wearing on you when you're seeing these people in hospice. And now these healthcare industries are coming to the legislators saying, can you do something? Can you carve us out to make sure we don't have to pay $15 to have somebody sit in these positions that we have massive turnover with anyways? But here's another scary point to end this segment. We talked about 66% of the people right now are pessimistic and depressed about what's going on in Biden's America. We have Syracuse University with a new study. 3.4% of American journalists are actually on our side, Republicans. That's like the very vast majority, almost 100% are on the other team. And liberal professors, another study comes out, liberal professors outnumber conservatives 12-1.
And that is the conservatives giving that up, giving up culture, giving up cultural things in the United States, giving up the education system, saying, here, you can have that. We don't think that that's that big of a deal. Well, guess what? 20, 30, 40 years later, we're finding out, wow, this was huge.
Well, add Hollywood into it. Add Hollywood into it.
Well, that's part of the culture, yeah.
News journalism, you've got Hollywood, all the weirdos in mainstream America, and now our college professors as well, brainwashing us with all of this garbage. Well, I'll tell you who's not brainwashed. That's Mark McCloskey, and he's going to join us. There's a massive new update on his case to get his guns back. He's been pardoned by the governor after Kim Gardner did what she did.
I couldn't believe they didn't get their guns back.
Well, again, they
didn't do anything wrong.
How many liberals are in our justice system? We'll talk to him about that and
Lawfare.
So much more. Mark McCloskey, he will be on fire, and he'll be joining us next here on the Vic Porcelli Show. Don't go anywhere.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. The Vic Porcelli Show.
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about? China.
Made in St. Louis, for St. Louis. It's NewstalkSTL.
Whoosh.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Thursday, we'll be talking to Chris Stegall of the Herzog Foundation about our most important treasure, our children, at 5:25 p.m.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on Newstalk STL.
It's been a very busy year for Wellington Environmental. Tom and his staff had traveled all over making sure that minor issues don't become major disasters. Then there are the times Wellington is called in for emergencies, but nothing Wellington hasn't seen before. They have certified inspectors, chemists, scientists, environmental planners, and that's just some of their expertise. That is why the St. Louis Business Journal gave Wellington such a high ranking. So what will 2024 bring? No one knows, but if you take time to visit the Wellington Environmental Facebook, you're going to see things that might explain health issues at your home or business, affecting you, your family, clients. Wellington Environmental Facebook. Tom Wellington and the entire staff wish you a blessed 2024. Your world, cleaner, better, safer. So, as always, be well with Wellington.
Hey, Columbo here with a great holiday offer from the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Just mention the Columbo special when you book a cleaning in the month of December, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $50 off your air duct cleaning. We trust Zero Res because they are simply the best when it comes to cleaning any surface in your home. And just remember to mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online anytime at ZeroResSTL.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. For more information, visit us at INHSTL.com. That's INHSTL.com.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Forget about it.
On NewstalkSTL.
One of the best songs, Ken, we've got some connection going on. Goes all the way back to Tim Jones when he had a Sunday night show.
Right.
And this is what I kind of like. I mean, maybe we're onto something, a premonition of sorts. We sat in when I was a house rep. That's where I got my chops in radio. I still have no idea what I'm doing. I was a house rep back then.
Yeah.
Now we're on a different station, in a different studio, and I'm a senator.
Right.
Maybe governor?
Keep
maybe
going.
governor someday?
Keep going.
Hopefully we'll have another guy, if I ever do run for governor, who will be our attorney general, and he is on fire, and rightfully so. Mark McCloskey on fire. You can catch him every weekend, but he's with us right now because the Missouri Court of Appeals has a very strange decision. I want to say idiotic, but I'm going to hold my words. Mark, thanks for joining us on short notice.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'd hold my tongue on that one too, because these days lawyers are getting sued and prosecuted for having non-woke political opinions. So we got to be careful these days in the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Well, let's just start there real quick. And I wasn't anticipating asking this question, but you have so many other states attacking Donald Trump, Giuliani, who you name it. And when they're focusing on the attorneys, it's you spoke out against an official proceeding, an election, or whatever it may be, and they're trying to hang their hats on the oath that we take as attorneys. So do you foresee any of that coming to the state of Missouri, where these justices, these judges, are saying, no, you have to be quiet if you're an attorney, or you're going to lose your bar license?
Well, I think so. I mean, I've got John Eastman on my program, not this week, but next week, and they've been trying to strip him of his law license in California since last June for having the gall to zealously represent his client. I mean, when we went to law school, we were told that it was our duty to zealously represent our clients and to take whatever positions are justified by current law or justified by what we believe the law ought to be within reason. And here all John Eastman did was write 2 memos based on the law as he believed it to be, laying out 6 different scenarios for what Mike Pence could do on January the 6th. And for that, he's being criminally prosecuted in Georgia, and they're trying to strip him of his law license.
Gosh, dog. I mean, how can we stop this? This is something where we've even seen in our state. And I've talked to other attorneys. I've talked to some very high-up attorneys about the weaponization of these continuing legal education requirements to now teach us that if you're white, you're a racist. There's nothing that you can do about it. It's understanding your implicit bias. And we have to pay money to be taught that we're all racists. I mean, are other states actually standing up against this stuff?
I don't know. I got to tell you that the diversity, equity, and inclusion requirement of our continuing legal education requirements to keep our licenses, I think, is unconstitutional, and it's just offensive. I mean, the one that I had to attend this year for my qualifications, it literally said that whatever the current rule is for expungement of your criminal convictions, that expecting minorities to have 2 or fewer felony convictions is unrealistic. I mean, what kind of racist crap is that, saying that if you're a minority, you should be expected to have more than 2 felonies?
Mark, yesterday I had from National Public Policy Research, we had Melanie Collette on, and she's a black woman she's an advocate of not having DEI or CRT in schools anywhere near it, and she's saying that this is illegal. And I wanted you to, if you could expand a little bit on how illegal, why DEI and CRT is illegal in schools.
Well, amongst other things, we've got this thing called the Constitution of the United States, where everybody is supposed to be treated equally under the law, and the government is not supposed to be able to give people preferences based on race, religion, or national origin. And the basis of both diversity, equity, and inclusion and critical race theory is to give advantages to certain people because of their skin color or their background, and disadvantage other people for the same reason. Specifically that all white people are racist and all black people and people of color, as they like to say now, are oppressed, and therefore the law, opportunities, employment, everything else should be skewed based on your race or your cultural heritage, as opposed to treating all people equal as human beings. That's inherently illegal, inherently unconstitutional, but it is now the law of the land virtually every place. It started with a executive order by President Johnson back in 1964, maybe. My year may be off on that. but he issued a proclamation then, which basically said the Constitution be damned. We're going to treat people differently based on their skin color.
Well, going back to
in the guise of anti-racism, if you can believe that.
Well, going back to Dr. Martin Luther King, he was trying to get rid of segregation. And now today in colleges, they're trying to get segregation. They're trying to make clubs for blacks only. Could you imagine if someone came up and said, hey, I'm white and I want to start a white organization? You would be considered a supremacist, a white supremacist.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, but now, and I did a program on this not too long ago. In California, there are people of color only courses taught by people of color only professors, and that if you're not a person of color, you're prohibited from participating in these courses and these outings and these retreats, which are paid for with federal tax dollars, and that's just blatantly unconstitutional.
Well, Mark, I think,
and you're right. I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think we're people of color too. I hate how the Democrats have weaponized that term. Like, they've weaponized damn near every single term, but the color I think you are right now is on fire. And it's not just the name of your show on the weekend, which, by the way, what a brilliant name of a show. You beat me to it. You know, the flamethrower thing hadn't happened with me that went viral, because if it hadn't, if you wouldn't have used that name, I would have had to have. But you should be on fire, because as reported, KMOV today, appellate court confirms McCloskey not entitled to have their guns returned. And briefly, let me just set this up to see if I'm on the same page. The court has said, even though the governor pardoned you, even though that you had to plead guilty in a public execution of sorts at the hands of a Soros-funded prosecutor, Kim Gardner, who got in trouble for prioritizing going after you all instead of the murderers, you never fired your gun, you never pointed it at anybody, you never bashed somebody in the head with it. You protected your land. You didn't step off of your land. And the court says, well, kind of like these J6 executions or plea deals and sorts, you could be an issue. So we're gonna make sure you can't have your guns back. On what grounds can they do this?
Well, it is bizarre to me, and the analogy I always use is this. Once we got the Soros-funded prosecutor, once we got Kim Gardner tossed off the case because of her bias and prejudice, and we got a new prosecutor assigned, so we worked the deal, right? We agreed to plead guilty, and part of the requirement from the state was if they would dismiss the felony charges and allow us to plead guilty to misdemeanors, is we had to cough up the guns. And so what I said to the trial court, the same thing I said to the Court of Appeals, and the same thing I'll say to the Supreme Court if they agree to take the case, is let's say we pled guilty to the felonies but got a reduced sentence from 4 years to 6 months, and then the governor pardons me. Well, I get out of jail, even though I agreed to the 6 months, because the pardon eliminates that sentence.
Right.
My guns are still in jail. They were part of the deal. Why would not my guns get out of jail by virtue of the pardon just the way I would have if I'd had to go to jail? And it makes no sense. And the Court of Appeals says this. Well, let me back up for the sake of the people that are just listening to this tangentially. There are some cases in Missouri that say that even after a pardon, if the statute that allows certain privileges says that by virtue of certain statuses you can't have those privileges, and what that means, for example, if you've pled guilty to a felony, you can't have a concealed carry warrant. And the court says that even if the governor pardons you, you still pled guilty, and the statute specifically says if you pled guilty, you can't have a concealed carry. Well, that's fine, but the Court of Appeals used that law to say that even though there's nothing in the statute that I pled guilty to, which is a fourth-degree assault,
right,
like a Class C misdemeanor, there's nothing in that statute that says I have to forfeit anything. The forfeit was a bargain for exchange with the state for reduced charges, and once the governor pardons me, and the governor's pardon specifically restored me to all rights and privileges that I had prior to, and eliminates.
Correct.
And I'll quote it because I think it's important. I mean, hang on, I'm paging back through.
I like how you actually have the paperwork in front of you from the governor's pardon.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says restore all rights of citizenship forfeited by such conviction and remove any legal disqualification, impediment, or other legal disadvantage. Well, wouldn't taking my property be an impediment or a legal disadvantage?
Yeah. Well, and you can go to a store today and go buy a new gun. You can possess guns lawfully with this pardon. And I think even without the pardon, you could have still bought guns because you pled to was a misdemeanor, correct?
Yeah, and the moment that the very day that the felony indictment was dismissed, I went down to my buddy Ian McFarland's modern weapon systems down in Fenton and bought my new AR. So, I mean, there's nothing that I did which would legally affect my ability to own firearms, and they only took those two that they seized that day. I think it was July the 10th of 2020. And so there's no legal impediment to me owning firearms. There's no legal reason why I would have had to have coughed up those, other than it was part of an agreed-to plea agreement with the state, which has now been obliterated by a pardon. And how the Court of Appeals can determine that because a pardon only eliminates the conviction, but allegedly not the consequence of guilt, why would the forfeiture or the seizure of those guns be the result of the finding of guilt as opposed to the fact of conviction? There's no factual or legal basis that they state in their opinion as to why that's a distinction with a difference.
So, Mark, the bottom line is that this decision is politically driven.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I as lawyers in the room will say we have a duty not to disparage the judicial system, but I agree.
So what's next? I mean, I know that there's been some statements that you're going to try to get this to the Supreme Court. If they don't agree to hear it, is that it?
You know, I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know what my rights are beyond that. You know, when the for example, we were not just persecuted by the judicial system, we were persecuted by the Bar Association as well. And when the Bar Association asked the Supreme Court to take our law licenses, we asked the United States Supreme Court to take a look at that. And the United States Supreme Court didn't take our writ on that. So I don't know what my rights are once the Missouri Supreme Court rules or refuses to rule on this issue. But it's a case of first impression. This issue of the effect of the governor's pardon on this kind of a plea deal has never been reached by the Supreme Court in Missouri. And so hopefully they'll find it to be an important enough issue to take, and hopefully they'll see it my way.
Well,
it's always a risky thing, because if they take and rule against us, then we've made bad law.
Well, and that's something that, you know, I'm going to be looking at very carefully, and hopefully you'll continue communications with us as we head into session next week, because this is something, if the courts decide the wrong way, we're going to have to fix this. We're going to have to adjust this legislatively, and the separation of powers is very clear. We have the ability to do that. Now, could they come back and say it's unconstitutional and tie us up like they have with defunding Planned Parenthood and a number of other issues, including election integrity and voter ID law? Sure. But here's a possibility, half tongue-in-cheek. Could the governor say, well, you know, if people can identify as unicorns, maybe these guns identify as people, I'm going to pardon them too and let them go back to their rightful home?
I was thinking last night that maybe you and the legislature have the power to enact a statute that would specifically contradict what this Court of Appeals said. The governor's pardon is a pardon that restores all rights and privileges, and that a governor's pardon would in fact be just like an expungement, where you go back to absolutely the condition you were before the charges were applied. And I think that's something that the legislature can do. I think that would solve this problem.
Yeah, I think that's going to be something we have to address legislatively. I think the expungement process as a whole, and I'm vice chairman of the Judiciary Committee in the Senate. I've sat in Judiciary in the House, general laws in the House, and this is an issue, the expungement issue, in the restoration of voting rights, of gun rights, of fully being restored as an American citizen. When the governor pardons you, it seems that the courts aren't getting it right. Some of the times the courts are confused. The statutes are a bit confused. So hopefully we can work together and address this issue sooner rather than later, because this is a session that I think a lot of Republicans, we discussed this earlier in the opening monologue, is a lot of outsiders are saying, we're pessimistic. There's a lot of infighting with the Republican Party. But you've got all these people, the leader of the House, the leader of the Senate, running statewide. They want to get their name out there, and they're trying to out-conservative one another. They're trying to have a voting record that makes up for all of the bad votes that they took in the past. And this might be one of them, to stand with Mark McCloskey. I think this is a Republican and Democrat issue of restoring your property rights after you've been pardoned.
Yeah, no, I think that's an important thing for the legislature to take up, and not just for me, but for everybody out there. I mean, it is such a dangerous environment right now, and I'll go back to what we're talking about to begin with. If you're a politician and you take a stand which you genuinely believe in, but you're in a jurisdiction that's hostile to you, you'll find a crooked politician, a crooked prosecutor that'll bring charges, a biased judge that will rule against you and a jury that will convict you regardless of the facts. And then you get sued civilly for taking positions that you believed in. For example, Rudy Giuliani being hit with a $147 million verdict for saying that some election workers who had no reputation before because nobody knew who the heck they were, have been damaged by his allegations that they engaged in the voter fraud, which he had video evidence of. And then you get the lawyers who represent Kerry Lake, for example, are now having their bar licenses challenged because they had the gall to act as lawyers and zealously represent her in her election fraud cases. And you've got John Eastman, who's losing his license. You got Rudy Giuliani, who lost his license in New York without a hearing. I mean, not only does that have the chilling effect on the politician for fear that if you take the wrong political opinions, you go to jail, but when you get charged with these things, then you can't find a lawyer because lawyers are afraid they'll lose their licenses and be sued civilly if they do their job as lawyers effectively.
Well, I think that's what they're ultimately wanting. I think they're ultimately trying to take away the weapons that we have to defend the law.
The chilling effect.
In the courts, absolutely. Mark, where can we go to find out more about you, your show, and stay up to date on this case as it's moving through the process?
Well, you can always check my Twitter feed. It's at McCloskey USA. Of course, my program on this fine station is Mark McCloskey on Fire, which airs 5 to 6 p.m. on Sundays. You can always see it on Twitter, on Rumble, on my Facebook feed. But I'm keeping the world up to date. I mean, the world. The bottom line is that the only way we're going to win this thing is by pulling together.
Yeah.
And the everything that the media and everything that the national government is doing now is trying to compartmentalize and tear us apart.
Well, keep fighting, Mark.
On the great seal of the state of Missouri, it says, "United we stand, divided we fall." And we've got to adhere to that. Stand united and just don't put up with this crap.
Mark McCloskey on fire, as he should be. Keep up to date. Let us know what we can do to spread the word. And we will be back with Nate Lucas here on the Vic Porcelli Show, 101.9, 94.1. Whoosh.
Whoosh.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote and accelerate the development of quality Christ-centered K-12 education.
Hi, this is Daryl Jones, president of the Herzog Foundation. We have an exciting new training opportunity available for public school and Christian school teachers. The Herzog Foundation Institute has partnered with the Bill of Rights Institute to offer 4 training events in 4 Missouri cities this year. These day-long professional development opportunities are best suited for middle and high school civics, government, U.S. history, and social studies teachers. Middle and high school teachers have a unique opportunity to strengthen civic knowledge and values for the next generation. We want to help teachers seize this opportunity.
Visit herzogfoundation.com/events to learn more and register for a Bill of Rights Institute training event near you. herzogfoundation.com/events. herzogfoundation.com/events.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Kim Patton from Comprehensive Integrative Healthcare. Kim, you focus on the treating of neuropathy. What are the signs of neuropathy?
The most common symptoms are numbness, burning, cramping, usually in the hands and feet.
Tell me about the success you're having with your Restore Neuropathy treatment program.
Tim, our program includes 8 distinct steps, offering a unique experience from other treatments. No surgery, no addictive medications, and we are seeing a success rate of 95%.
Kim, that is incredible. How can people learn more?
Visit us online at CIH.health. That's CIH.health.
Facts don't matter. Lies don't matter. You or I lie, we go to jail. She lies.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
It's just part of the business. President lies. It's part of his business. Joe Biden couldn't tell the truth if he could remember it. And then you got Hunter Biden, because he's a drug addict, because he's a gun criminal, because, posts pictures of himself with hookers and crack pipes and all that kind of stuff. Now that makes him somehow wonderful.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on NewstalkSTL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is NewstalkSTL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomas. The nation's highest court being asked to return former President Trump to the Colorado primary ballot. The Colorado Republican Party filed the appeal with the U.S. Supreme Court. The Colorado Supreme Court disqualified Mr. Trump from the ballot. An appeal from the Trump legal team is expected soon as well. And the prosecution trying to muzzle the Trump legal team in the former president's federal election interference trial.
Smith a judge to bar Trump's lawyers from raising what relevant political issues or arguments, including that the prosecution is vindictive and selective or was coordinated by President Biden. The motion to preclude Trump from introducing broad categories of arguments is a way for prosecutors to try to set parameters on what they believe the jury should or should not hear. It is effectively on hold during an appeal of the former president's claims that he's immune from prosecution for acts taken while in the White House. I'm Julie Walker.
Some big city mayors continue pleading for help dealing with an influx of illegal aliens. New York's Eric Adams joining some fellow Democrats in appealing to the Biden administration for assistance.
We must feed, clothe, house, educate children, and all the services that you would give a normal adult. And we're seeing that play out on our streets of New York. And that is what the breaking point looks like.
Adams criticizing Texas Governor Greg Abbott, illegal aliens who want to go to sanctuary cities like New York. In New York and Los Angeles, pro-Hamas protesters wreaked havoc at JFK Airport and LAX yesterday, blocking traffic to both airports, inconveniencing thousands of travelers. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 51 points, the Nasdaq ahead 36. More on these stories at townhall.com.
In Dinesh D'Souza's new blockbuster movie, Police State exposes the government's plot to control MAGA conservatives.
These are anti-government.
We have freedom of religion and freedom of speech.
Violent extremists, and they must be dealt with.
MAGA Republicans threaten the very foundation of our republic.
Mass surveillance, censorship, and armed attacks. There's nowhere to hide.
FBI, we have an arrest warrant.
15 marked units on my property.
Military-styled soldiers pointing an automatic rifle at my head.
Are we becoming a police state?
It may be the Russia other people grew up in, but not my America.
Directed by Dinesh D'Souza, Debbie D'Souza, and Bruce Shuley, Police State sounds the alarm.
What we need is a person, and then we go find out what crime you did. How did we give the state this kind of power?
Police State, they have their lists. Are you next?
If they're coming for me, they're coming for you.
Police State. Buy it or stream it now at salemnow.com. Salem Now.
This hour of NewstalkSTL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
First alert for Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Still some light snow overnight, mostly melting on roads, but an isolated band of heavier snow not out of the question still overnight tonight. Most snow tapers off by 5 a.m. If there are any isolated heavier bands, that could overcome the melting on the roads and create some snowy, slick conditions briefly, but again, only in isolated spots with temperatures staying above freezing, a low of 34. Cloudy and cold then Thursday, 41 for the high, but another round of light snow comes in Thursday evening into Friday morning. Some reduced visibility, but wet roads as it melts on the pavement with a low of 34 to Friday morning. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, you know, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Welcome back to the Vic Porcelli Show. All the cats and the hats are probably still in the chat box there. I suck at technology, even though I'm a millennial. I am Nick Schroer, joined by Ken Williams, the half of the Tag Team Championship here on the Vic Porcelli Show, NewstalkSTL. And here in a minute, we're going to have a rock star, Nate Lucas. And I want to talk to him a little bit about what the hell is happening in sports today. And I think it can all be boiled down to Dr. Carol Swain's take on what is wrong with the education system.
Did I know growing up that George Washington and Thomas Jefferson owned slaves? I don't think I ever thought about it. If I did, I'd like to think that I would have had enough common sense to know that we can't judge men who lived 250 years ago by the moral standards of our own day. But I know that Jefferson wrote the words in the Declaration of Independence that made slavery ultimately impossible, that all men are created equal. I was spared the life-sapping, negative messages about America that are crippling a generation of young people. These ideas are poison, white privilege, Whiteness is a form of property. Unconscious racism, reparations, microaggressions. Police have it out for blacks.
Look, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, look at her choice of words. She's such a wordsmith,
right?
Which is the good reason why she's a target from Claudine Gay, the president of Harvard, as the plagiarism that she did. This was the person that she got it from.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what she is saying right now hits the nail on the head with what is wrong with America. Why is there such a divide between different groups, between different age groups? And when you look at the studies that we cited previously in the first hour, you've got the liberals, these whack jobs that are outnumbering conservatives 12-1 in our college institutions. Professors are brainwashing, just like a professor that I had at UMSL. A biology class that I had was started off every single day by a biology teacher. This is not a political science class, bashing George W. Bush. And I wasn't a Bush fan. I really didn't care about politics at that point, but it opened my eyes. Why am I spending my hard-earned dollars to get brainwashed in a biology class? It has nothing to do with politics. And I had to stand up and actually fight back. But now you have the NFL. You have former NFL players, I think Mendenhall, and I hope Nate Lucas will correct me if I'm wrong, saying, look, there are too many whites that are criticizing and commenting on sports. They just need to get the hell out of it. And he's advocating for, like you said earlier, segregation, a black versus white all-star team.
That doesn't even make sense to me because football was built. I'm not talking about NFL. NFL sucks.
Yeah, it does.
I don't even entertain myself with that anymore. But I'm talking about football in general was built on the backs of black and white men.
Oh, 100%.
It's not a race issue. Well, it's human race.
Well, it's like this nation.
First of all, it's the human race.
Yeah.
Okay. But you have this thing that they keep trying to push that is everything has to be a black or a white issue. That segregation is what we talked about earlier, is continuing, and it's getting worse. And I think it comes from the Obama administration when he first started. I think he said, well, I'm going to be the great uniter, and he was the great divider.
Yeah, and he also said he was going to fundamentally change the history of America, and he has.
Which we haven't, I don't think we understood the concept at the moment.
I thought a lot of people, and I talked to a lot of voters who voted for Obama the first time. They said, yeah, we are going to change history. We're going to make it to where someone who's a little bit darker complected than we are can be president. But then they saw what he meant by fundamentally changing history of our nation. And guess who else was the great uniter? Joe Biden. Joe Biden said that he was going to have decency back on the ballot, but yet we have men with fake breasts on the White House lawn. We've got interns or staffers getting certain things done to them in one of the most historic hearing rooms in the U.S. Senate. Decency was on the ballot, but people voted for the wrong one. Hopefully we can get some insight here from our good friend, a guy I've been wanting to talk to since I've got a bunch of anti-sports fans in the world of politics that I hang around with. Nate Lucas, host of 590 The Fan. Find more at NateLucas.com, at Nate Lucas, or in Lucas, 0. There's a lot there.
Yeah, and Lucas, 0.
0, because he has 0 F's to give. Nate, thanks for joining us. I am Nick Schroer. I am not the notorious Vic Porcelli, but happy early New Year to you.
Nick, what's happening? How are you guys? Definitely. Happy New Year to both of you. And
hey, Nick.
You had a Merry Christmas indeed. And, nice to see that the sun has come back out in St. Louis. I was wondering what might happen again after the last couple of days.
Well, we had Christmas, and it felt like Scottsdale, Arizona, 70, 80 degrees on Christmas. I was thanking all of my Republican friends for the climate change that they put forth.
Yeah, but you guys have to watch out when you say this whole thing about warm weather during this time of year, because when I was a kid, I remember when I was a child, I was about 7 years old. This is a long time ago, okay?
Back in the 20s.
Yes, and we got our bicycles, and I remember in a T-shirt riding my bike around the neighborhood. So it was really warm then too.
Well,
so this
the climate always changed.
It does change.
I mean, I remember getting a foot of snow in April.
Right.
It happens.
Now, Ken, you've stuck it in my head of you riding a bicycle with your shirt off. I mean, again, come on. It's a family show. It's a family show.
You're right.
Nate, I was telling Ken that I know you guys, and I'm an avid listener to this station, to this show. That's an award-winning show, all because of you, Nate. But I know that they talk about sports and politics. In the world of politics that I'm in, I'm a state senator. There's not a lot of sports buffs. There's not a lot of sports fans. They can tell you how to play backgammon or the length of a fencing sword. But we got Cotton Bowl. We got Cotton Bowl tomorrow, so let's start there. What's the outlook for this game? Are there any standouts for Ohio State? I know we've got a couple players injured with Mizzou. What are you looking at going into this Cotton Bowl game?
Well, I'll tell you what, actually, you being a state rep, Mr. Shore, I'd like to know why I can't bet legally on this game in the state of Missouri.
Well, technically you can if you buy a VPN.
I mean, we're like stuck in the mud in Missouri and we can't catch up on a sports gambling thing. I mean, we get all the pork out of these different legislative bills and just pass sports gambling in Missouri. It's kind of embarrassing, in my opinion, but I digress. Look, Missouri would love to cap off a 10-win regular season with a win in the bowl game against a Power 5 team like Ohio State. Their 2 losses this year came against came against LSU and came against Georgia. And I think if you look at their other wins this season, the 10 wins wouldn't necessarily be as impressive if they can't finish it off with a win in the in the Cotton Bowl down in Dallas against Ohio State. And Ohio State's without their quarterback. They're without the Heisman finalist, Marvin Harrison Jr. They've had several players already say that they're not going to play. Missouri is just the opposite. They've taken a lot of pride in saying they're going to finish this season off strong. So a lot of times when you get to these bowl games and you're outside of the top 4 college football playoff, it's about which team does this game mean more to. And in this sense, I think it's Missouri, and I think the Tigers win outright on Friday night.
It's my alma mater. Thanks, Nick.
Ohio State?
No.
Mizzou?
Mizzou.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. I was going to say, Buckeye over here.
No.
One of the things that we did do, which I had a hand in passing the House version when I was in the House and I'm in the Senate, was the name, image, likeness bill. And we had Coach Drinkwitz in talking about the free market. And this is exactly what it is. You've got these players that the schools aren't necessarily paying for, but they can get the deals. They can get Emo's deals or Panera Bread, whatever it may be. We've seen the impact that that's had in Missouri. What is your position on this NIL, the transfer portal, and all this other crap that's been happening with college sports?
Yeah, it's weird, man. I mean, look, I'm all for players, being able to utilize their name, image, and likeness to make money. I thought that the idea that the NCAA was going to shoot down, the star wide receiver, star quarterback's ability to make money, I just was like, wow, that seems authoritarian and almost draconian. But where it's gone now, and I mean, some people might disagree with me on this, but it's almost like it's created a huge shift in college athletics and recruiting, where now these universities basically have outside donors invest into what they call an NIL fund, and then they're able to pay these players from this fund. And it was kind of alarming to some people, I think, when you heard Nebraska head coach Matt Rule say that the cost of a quarterback in the transfer portal this season was going to be $2 million minimum.
Wow.
$2 million. I mean, Arch Manning, the son of the third Manning brother, who isn't as prominent as Peyton or Eli, just because they played in the NFL.
But did he get better looks? Did he at least get the looks of the family?
Yeah, he got the look.
Okay.
Well, this guy, he played at Texas this year, his freshman year. He didn't even start a game, and he made like $3+ million on NIL money, and it's just like, whoa. I just don't know if this is where it was intended to go.
Yeah.
And like most things that the NCAA does, you sort of open the floodgates, and then you have to sort of weed out where the problems exist. And I think right now the problem exists where you've got, say, a Division I school like a Georgia, which has unlimited funds and can go spend any amount of money on players. You've also got a school here in Missouri, that's Division I football, like Lindenwood. Now, how do they compete on the same map? I don't see how that's feasible moving forward.
Well, moving forward, I want to fix something that's happening with sports as a whole. I think the NHL this year said, we're not doing any more of these woke nights where the players were forcing them to wear jerseys. We saw a bunch of Christians standing up saying, I'm not going to do what you're doing. And the NHL just finally got rid of it. We played a clip coming in. We're talking to Nate Lucas, host on 590 The Fan. You can find more at NLucas0 on X or Twitter. But we played a clip from Dr. Carol Swain talking about the injection of woke politics, cultural Marxism in our colleges and universities across the United States. And here recently, I think it was Rashad Mendenhall, comes out saying how the white guys need to stop commenting on NFL, that he would like to see segregation once again in the NFL with white players playing black players. Is this a moment kind of like the kneeling on the national anthem or anti-cop movement in the NFL? Are we going to see a change in professional sports finally?
I got to tell you, when I read that tweet, I guess that was last week, I was so dumbfounded. I was reading it live on air, and I just couldn't imagine, had you reversed it where that was a white player that came out and suggested that we need to have an all-white league and basically abolish any black participants from commenting on the game. And I'm thinking to myself, like, holy smokes, like, if you just look at what racism is on its most basic organic level, that's the most racist statement I think I've ever heard players suggest. And I get like some of the white players kind of came out and like we're having fun with it and we're putting together like all white teams. The wild part about Mendenhall's statement is that the leading rusher in the NFL this season happens to be a white running back.
Yeah.
And his name is Christian McCaffrey. So,
well, even look at Mizzou, Corey Schrader, SEC champ on rushing.
Schrader. Yeah, I mean, he led the SEC. I mean, no doubt. Like, that was a very bizarre comment. Makes you wonder how many hits to the head Mendenhall's had over the years. But then the fact that no one in the sports media landscape looked at that comment and was like, this is a problem. They just went along with it because most of the people in the sports media are complete leftist, lunatics that need to have their heads examined. So they probably felt white guilt reading Rashard Mendenhall's tweet.
Well, that's the whole point, too, Nate. It was so outrageous that the white players were just joking about it. They thought, well, he's got to be kidding. I mean, so let's go ahead and make a league of white players and see what happens. And it is a problem. My biggest problem is that they didn't do anything about it.
Right. Well, I thought that there was stop racism at the end of every end zone in the NFL. Why aren't they stopping that?
How was there no pressure from, people at the University of Illinois to oust Rashard Mendenhall from their Ring of Honor or their Hall of Fame? I mean, just think of the backlash again. If this were reversed, the individual who would have uttered those racist comments from a different perspective would have lost everything. And for whatever reason, Rashard Mendenhall's comments get sort of ha-ha'd, like, what?
Well, I'm gonna shift up.
I very funny. I found them quite egregious, grotesque, and racist.
Well, and sports binds us together. I think that's one of the reasons why it's so important to put your kids in some sort of a sporting league or team, because it binds you together. You have that team mentality.
But not the NFL.
Not anymore. And I think that's where when you look at where is this racism coming from, when you're taught in these schools that they have to go to, if they're going to go to college, they're being told that, well, wait a second, you're never going to succeed because of the white man. And now you have these individuals like Colin Kaepernick, who, was a third string, whatever. Now you've got this guy standing up. And I think you've got a point. There's too many shots to the head to have that sort of mentality. Maybe that's why the media, which we just reported earlier today, only 3% of American journalists are actually Republican. Maybe that's why they're going easy on him, because like Biden, there's something a little bit wrong up in the dome that he has.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just don't think they're very bright people, and having attended journalism classes at various schools and at the university level, I can tell you that they're not exactly learning rocket science in these institutions. So, yeah, it's sort of pathetic on multiple levels. But I would also just suggest that sports, like every other corporation in America, has fallen into the diversity, equity, and inclusion problem. And, just like every other corporate business, they get that ESG score from BlackRock. And guess what? They need to make sure that they've got these boxes checked and this percentage of how you look this way. And, I mean, it's really embarrassing. And like, until I've tried to say this for a long time, but really until people get a more firm understanding of the death of our corporations due to their strict, beholden, absurd obsession with diversity, equity, inclusion to better their ESG score for, financing companies like BlackRock to fund them. It'll always be a mystery. Like, well, why does this company really think this way? They don't really think that way. Yeah. It's because they're shooting for an ESG score and a better result so they can improve their own index.
Well, that's an area. That's an area where we need to, on top of the sports betting, on top of all the other stuff that is occurring in our state right now, the gambling and gas stations with video lottery terminals, the ESG crap, the DEI, all of these things that they've injected this cultural Marxism into our corporations, into our colleges. That's where the Missouri legislature needs to stand up and start fighting. Nate, in the minute that we have left, is there any hope that it didn't come on Christmas, maybe a New Year's present, are the Cardinals going to make any move that makes sense before next session?
Oh, man. Well, John Mozeliak, he has a cryptic way of telling you what he's going to do, and he said he was going to sign 3 pitchers, and he did sign 3 pitchers. They're just not the 3 pitchers that anybody thought or the caliber of pitcher that everyone knows that the Cardinals need. So they did a nice I thought the Sonny Gray pickup was indeed beneficial. You look at the Gibson and Lynn signings and you think, wow, they seem like one of the same, and now you've got a lot of 4 and 5s on a pitching staff. But I'm holding out hope that they're going to add to their bullpen. They desperately need to add to their bullpen, especially in high leverage situations. And I think one more veteran bat, a known power bat in the outfield would be a nice pickup too. But man, will the Cardinals spend money? Whew. Yeah. I'm learning to have less hopes than I once did with this franchise. I think it's time maybe for the DeWitts to sell the team.
Well, I would be part of that ownership group. We will keep them in the city of St. Louis, maybe St. Charles County. But Nate, where can people go find more about your show, anything that you're doing with interviews or on social media?
No doubt. NateLucas.com is the easiest way to reach out, or obviously on social media, on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it these days, at NLucas0. And fellas, it's always a pleasure to join you. Happy New Year.
Well, thank you for letting me get a little bit of that sports talk off my chest as I go back into session next week. God bless you, Nate, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever the hell you're celebrating. We will be back.
Me and Kamala.
No kidding. Hey, Happy New Year, Nate.
Hey, guys.
We'll be back with the man, the myth, the Jamey Murphy, the Chief of Chiefs, talking everything Missouri politics and then some on the Vic Porcelli Show, 101.9, 94.1 News Talk, STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Over $1.3 billion. Trump just talks the talk. We walk the walk.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Are you or someone you know providing or managing care for a loved one today? Did you know that there could be more cost-efficient solutions for funding that long-term care, even for those who are currently residing in a skilled care facility? Believe me, skilled care facility, incredibly expensive. Even long-term care at home can be incredibly expensive. So financial strategist and long-term care specialist Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management can help you with tax-efficient strategies that are available right now to help your family manage care concerns. And that is financially and healthcare concerns as well. So whether you're planning for the future or managing care of a loved one today, there are solutions for you, and Chris Cooper can help you do that. He's written a book. It's complimentary. He didn't write it to make money. Crazy thing. It's called The CPA's Guide to Tax-Free Strategies for Long-Term Care, and you can get it at SerenityLTC.com. That's SerenityLTC.com. Serenity Now with Chris Cooper.
Investment advisory services offered through OWLLFI LLC, a SEC registered investment advisor. This is a paid endorsement. Insurance and education services offered through Serenity Wealth Management.
Serenity Now!
Stand and Fight with Nick Schroer.
Hey everyone, this is Nick Schroer from Stand and Fight every Sunday 8 to 10 p.m. If you need tree removal, storm damage, repairs to trees, tree trimming, pruning, if your bushes are out of control, call River City Tree Service. Free quotes right now, 314-270-8071, 314-270-8071. Professional tree services performed by ISA certified arborists. Request your free quote at rivercitytreeservice.com.
This is Rob with St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, and we'd like to let you know you don't have to maintain the grout in your home anymore. The grout on the floor or in your shower or bath area. How would you like zero grout in your bathroom? At St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, we focus on grout-free options for your bathroom. If you hate cleaning grout, St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, 314-477-6476. 477-6476. Give us a call.
When you help create a Make-A-Wish experience for children with critical illnesses, you create a turning point in their treatment and recovery. And suddenly, the joy of childhood that they've lost is within reach. Right now, there are over 600 children in our region alone who are waiting for their heartfelt wish to come true. Give the gift of hope and joy this season by texting the word WISH to 243725. That's WISH, 243725.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
Anti-Semitism exploding everywhere in our nation. Even a Muslim girl telling a rabbi, you should kill yourself.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
Now go home and get your shine box.
On News Talk STL.
That's the little clip that yesterday I said Vic didn't want me to play. It was that one that I wasn't supposed to play.
The shine box?
The shine box one. He cringes from that one.
I was going to say, can you say that anymore?
Oh, you can. It's a shine box.
I mean, they've got it at Lambert Airport. They've got shoe shine stations.
So go home and get your shine box.
I'll tell you what, they don't make music like they used to. Speaking of shine box, Johnny Cash, little shoe shine boy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you got the Rolling Stones you're playing, the Allman Brothers, some of the best music. Maybe that's why, on top of the good stuff and the Cats and the Hats and the Truckers and all the great guests that you guys have, I think that great music helped you guys win that championship belt in 2023.
I think so, and I can't fool you. This is all Vic's music.
Is it really?
Yeah, Vic chooses the music and gives it to me, and then I play it.
Well, a guy that knows my music very well is joining us here now. The Chief of Chiefs, Jamey Murphy, the Chief of yours truly. He's been in the Senate for, it seems like a decade or more.
More than a decade.
He's been in politics for a while. His dad is in the House. This is a guy who, when we talk about what is happening in politics on the Vic Porcelli Show, he's filled in for me, but he knows. He's on top of the chief for me. He's the co-chair of the Missouri Young Republicans. Despite you being in politics for like a million years, you're younger than me, and you're the secretary of the Missouri GOP. So I've got some questions for you, son.
I do too. I actually do too.
Let's go. Let's roll.
Let's roll with what's happening nationally, because I think this all ties together the dysfunction and how we can fight back. Clip 6.
The highest court in Michigan, 7 justices determining they're not going to get involved. The lower courts in Michigan said that they acknowledged that there were challenges to Trump being on the primary ballot there, and the lower court said, we also are not getting involved. This is not something for us to determine. And they weren't weighing in on the general election either at that time. And so now this case goes to the Michigan Supreme Court. They looked at it and they said, yeah, we're not going to do anything here either. But one of the justices in Michigan did write today in this ruling that Michigan is very different from Colorado. The laws are different around who qualifies for their primary ballots there. And that is one of the reasons why that state is ending up with a different situation.
Well, the big issue in Colorado right now, whether Trump can stay on the ballot. I mean, the Democrats are trying to kick him off everywhere. And it seems like Colorado's the only one. Their high court might actually be high. Because that makes even if you blindly read the 14th Amendment, I have no clue how you can kick somebody off the ballot based upon what they're alleging. So looking at the dysfunction, Colorado Republican Party comes back and says, okay, we had a primary where you could actually vote. If you're going to say that he can't be on the ballot for the primary, we're going to move towards a caucus. And I don't know how they're going to do that without legislation, because in the state of Missouri, we actually had to pass some legislation and tucked in an omnibus bill on, correct me if I'm wrong, Jamey, this was 2 years ago, paper ballots, all the good election stuff that we were fixing after the 2020 election, that got snuck in there that Missouri was going to go back to a caucus. So explain this caucus system. I know I've talked to Rob Carter a little bit about it. I've talked to Vic Porcelli a bit about it. How did we get here? What does it mean? And is it better for Trump to have a caucus instead of Missouri?
Well, so I'll touch on the history of it a little bit because it wasn't like snuck in. People didn't know. The reality is elections are expensive. So the fiscal note on running a primary election was somewhere between $7 to $10 million annually, or every time you'd go do it. So the county clerks really were lobbying to get rid of it because they claimed that it didn't mean anything. The voters would vote, but then the parties can pick where their delegates go. Missouri Republican Party's rules say if the voters voted, we're bound as a party to what they said. So not exactly the best excuse, but it was it wrapped up in an omnibus bill that, paper ballots, all sorts of voter ID fix, a lot of things that we actually needed to do. So now we have been planning a caucus. It's going to happen in March. Make sure you have a plan. The locations are currently being set. In a couple weeks, we're going to have a way for you to go on to mogop.org and pre-register for your caucus. The rules are set. There was a little bit of chaos last time we did a big caucus. I believe the police got called in St. Charles County, and they had to break it up and do a redo caucus.
You had what? Ted Cruz, Trump, Rand Paul. Rand Paul still in it?
I think it was the Cruz. Rand Paul's group was still in there. Yeah.
Did anyone get shanked?
Not that I'm aware of. But let's not do that this time either.
No shanks.
So the party, because as secretary of the party, we've been going through months and months of planning on trying to figure out how we're going to do this. The one thing we did learn is we're not going to have a rules debate when you go into this. So, for instance, the state party set the rules, and you can either follow the rules, and if we don't follow the rules that are set, then that county actually loses their delegates. So a lot of the wheels fell off last time because it was who's in charge, what are the rules going to be, and can we have enough people in the crowd to manipulate the rules to benefit one candidate over another? All of that's gone. So you get to walk in, everybody gets to vote. If somebody has the majority of the votes, all the delegates go to them. If they don't have the majority of the votes, you get 30 minutes to go figure out a compromise. And if you can't figure out the compromise, the chair gets to pick.
And Jamie and Nick, I want to pivot back to Colorado Supreme Court for a second because I may be just uneducated. The high court. The high court. Because I may not know. I mean, I just don't know enough about it. But you're a lawyer, so you might be able to help me here. Okay, Trump was never charged. He was never convicted of any insurrection. And part of the ruling, isn't it about insurrection? He was an insurrectionist, so therefore they're not going to have him on the ballot. If that's true, that's just complete politicization of the justice system, lawfare, and it shouldn't be legal, right?
We talked about it with Mark McCloskey. I mean, there's really, and I'm struggling to find any legal basis after he's been pardoned with the governor's language in his pardon, why he's still able to be prohibited from getting his guns back. Look at Dan Bongino plays this clip all the time where Trump says, hey, I know some of you all are going to go to the Capitol. Do it peacefully. Respect our law enforcement officers. Do it lawfully.
Patriotically and peacefully.
And those are the things that the journalists here in Missouri and across the United States are not reporting on. So that's where I think, you're seeing the judicial system kind of go astray. They're attacking, just like Mark McCloskey said, they're attacking attorneys for standing up and zealously representing their clients and trying to disbar them. Is this dysfunction that we're seeing, Jamie, in your experience, is this the most divisive the parties have been in your time in politics?
I mean, I've never seen anybody try to go after and throw a presidential nominee potentially completely off the ballot and do everything they can to. I mean, you want to talk about a party that's been screaming about election interference, now doing everything they can to interfere in an election. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, and you have courts that are complacent in it. I can't imagine the Supreme Court's going to actually go along. But look, primaries and selecting nominees for president is a party function, period. The Republican Party gets to pick who their nominee is at the national convention. All the state laws, they can do whatever they want. They can bind delegates, but it's a party function, period.
I'm going to go one step further here. And if Trump is convicted and put in jail, first of all, that's going to throw everything off of nothing's going to be the same. But I know one thing that is going to be the same. All of the MAGA patriots that are going to vote for him, and I'm voting for Trump's policies. I'm not voting for Trump.
Yeah.
I'm voting for his policies. I want this country to get back to where it was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. If they do that, put him in prison, I guarantee you he's going to have double the votes that he would have had last time.
Well, that's something that I've seen, too, is that no matter how hard, it's almost like the Incredible Hulk. No matter how many times you attack him, he gets bigger, he gets stronger, he gets tougher to take down. And you're now seeing Hispanics and Black Americans moving toward that party. Chris Arps and I had a conversation when we were in Alec in, where was it this time? In Scottsdale. And I said, how are we going to, and I think that was filling in for Tim Jones on Tim Jones Show. How are we going to be able to keep those voters here? Because they're coming out for Trump and his policies. They're not coming out for the Mitt Romneys, the Lindsey Grahams. How do we keep them? He said, stick with your party principles. Don't try to cater like the Democrats do when Hillary Clinton says, I've got that hot sauce in my purse when she's on a black radio station. Stick with what matters. And Jamey, you've seen it firsthand when we go to the Clippers and Cops events. And I think the last time we were here with Ty Dennis of Clippers and Cops, we had a Ukrainian break the side table when we were live on air. And I've got, for those watching at home, this was the replacement side table that a Ukrainian sat on. Maybe we'll call him next segment. But, you know, seeing what these minorities, and they're Americans. I hate putting them in baskets like the Democrats do, but they want what we want. It's not a Democrat-Republican issue, black-white issue. No. When you want safety for your kids, you don't want your property broken into, you want good schools, you want crime low. How can we as a party, and you're now the secretary of the GOP, how can we reach out to those groups that historically were with us, but over time they've gone to the Democrat Party, and now they're waking up? How can we get them to stay with us after Trump?
So the one thing that the party has actually failed to do, I mean, it's a bit of a resource issue, right? You go and you play in areas where you think you can win. So if you got to go convince 2 or 3% of Democrat voters to flip over in an election cycle to win a seat, that's where you're spending your money. The reality is we have given up on the city of St. Louis, and we've actually given up on historically Republican districts in the county. If you watch the slide, I mean, Kirkwood used to be Rick Stream's district, right?
Yeah.
We can no longer win Kirkwood. Webster Groves used to be in play. We can't come near Webster Groves anymore. They're voting 80% Democrat. We have quit taking our message and explaining what Republicans are in those areas, and we've allowed the left to do it. How do we fix it? We start talking about what Republicans stand for in the communities that have historically been with us that are no longer there, and convince them and win them back.
Well, hold that thought, because we're going to be back with so much more, looking back at 2023, looking into 2024, and what is on the horizon. We're here with Jamey Murphy, the Vic Porcelli Show. I'm Nick Schroer, Ken Williams, 1019 94.1. Whoosh!
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
studentaid.gov/save. I want to be clear.
The president has been very clear. He's been crystal clear on this.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion from the voices you know and trust. News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Jim Talent, former U.S. Senator.
So it's been my belief for some time that we should be financing or supporting them with a view towards getting an acceptable settlement that would then include Ukraine eventually entering NATO. But that requires real purpose and planning and direction from the executive branch, and we haven't had it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Getting a new floor for your home can be intimidating and a little scary. But that's not the case when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michael's, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michaels has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peters. Check out everything that Michaels has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Fox News commentary.
Rite Aid has been banned from using facial recognition technology for 5 years. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Paid actor portrayal.
Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. In 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected.
Ethos fast and easy online term life insurance up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Especially from drug and convenience stores, has been a growing problem around the country, and now one retailer will have one less tool to fight it: facial recognition technology. The FTC has banned Rite Aid from using the technology for 5 years after allegations the chain used it incorrectly to ID shoplifters, many of whom happen to be people of color as well as females. In federal court, the FTC alleged the drugstore chain utilized facial recognition technology that led to thousands of false matches. Rite Aid customers were also unaware the technology was being applied to them. Look, faulty technology isn't helpful to anyone, but can you blame retailers for trying to fight back against repeat shoplifters? The government has failed these businesses by allowing thugs and degenerates to target them over and over and over again with little to no repercussion. You can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Never rat on your friends and always keep your mouth shut.
On NewstalkSTL.
ZZ Top, baby.
Boom.
I think Jamey's going to need to grow a beard this year, a bigger one, so we can be the ZZ Top of the Missouri Senate. Nick Schroer standing in for Vic Porcelli today. I'm still standing, still fighting. We've got Jamey Murphy, the Chief of Chiefs, Ken Williams running everything technology-wise, so God bless you. I mean, even that little extra, I love it. I love ZZ Top. It was my first concert ever when I was a little guy. My brother and I dressed up in the beards, and it's kind of sad.
So that's where it comes from.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it never fell off. We just glued it on, and it just grew in on its own. Again, like we said last time we were here, we had the trio. There was Beard and ZZ Top. He was the drummer, but he didn't have the big beard. And we had Beard in the Schroer Senate office. It was the Ukrainian. It was Igor, who the last time we were in here, he sat on a folding table, one of these little TV tables, thinking it's a chair, live on air, stand and fight at the old studio. Shards of wood are just shooting up in the air. I wish we had enough time to call him and just put him live on air, because that guy is a hoot. For those that are in the Senate District 2, we've got a new guy. He's been on Stand and Fight. He's been on News Talk. Dual Lauderdale will be the new guy that is the legislative assistant helping me and Jamey represent the good people of District 2. But before we jump into what I promised, and that's going to be a look back at 23, looking into 24, the crystal ball, let's go national. And the fake news, the news media that we reported, almost 97% of that news media is Democrat. Only, 3.4% was identified as Republican.
Yeah.
They're now reporting that Trump is considering Nikki Haley. When you search Trump VP, first thing that pops up, Trump is scared, he's nervous, so he's floating the idea of Nikki Haley. No way, no how, Don Jr. says. He says that's never going to happen over his dead body.
We should know by now, first of all, that the media is when they want something to be fomented and when they want something to move forward, they're the ones promoting it, saying, well, we need Nikki Haley in there. So let's just make it sound like that Donald Trump's doing it.
So I don't think she's going to be even in the top 10 for VP.
I don't think so either.
My choices.
Yeah, let's hear your choice.
If Trump, and I think he will, if Trump gets the pick, you've got Carrie Lake, who I think he's been polishing her up to be a VP candidate. You've got a guy who I know is a little bit controversial right now, Vivek, who represents Indian Americans, very conservative, at least the ones that I know in the Chesterfield, St. Louis County, St. Charles County area. They're very successful. They came here to achieve the American dream, and they've done it bigly. So not only
and they've
will you
assimilated
100%. So not only do you have this group that really has been ignored politically. You've got other minorities that are coming out to support somebody. And look, if you're going to play the political games, there's a guy that doesn't look like the old white Mike Pence in Vivek Ramaswamy. The third one here, I've got Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is somebody who I think is the wild card. Trump said he was going to have his own media network. Well, guess who's got their own media network now? Tucker Carlson. So seeing them at the UFC events, seeing how Tucker went from being kind of, I don't know, he would hammer on some things that Trump did. Now he's focusing on all the bad Biden is doing, comparing it to the good times under Trump. But who are your picks that you think could be VP? Not who you want, but who you think could be VP.
Jamie, you're the guest.
Oh, man. I'm still hung up on this Tucker Carlson idea.
Yeah.
That one.
That kind of surprised me.
That one kind of surprises me. I mean, I don't really have a good answer. You kind of named my top two already, so I'll punt it over here.
Well, I'm just going to go to the person that I feel when Trump was being attacked the most, she came to his rescue, but she didn't do it like, leave him alone.
Yeah.
She used facts. She approached it as an adult, and she gave them basically the ability to shut up, and that's Kristi Noem of South Dakota.
Well, a lot of people say it's going to be DeSantis. It's going to be DeSantis.
No.
And I've got an article here, and I've talked about this on Stand and Fight. It's not necessarily that there's a prohibition picking someone from the same state. Go back to Bush Cheney. Cheney quickly moved to Wyoming, I think it was, where he was previously in Texas. But if that issue, if the hanging chads and all that, if it went to the electors, the Electoral College, there is a prohibition from the Electoral College voting for and casting their votes for a president and vice president from the same state. So you would lose Florida since Trump lives there and DeSantis lives there. Again, I mean, if it never goes to the Electoral College and you win by a landslide, but look at these past few elections. I mean, in 2020, whether you think it was legit or not, there were some weird things. The counties that were won, the counties that weren't won that typically would go to the winner. So that's where I think DeSantis is not going to be the pick. And whoever the hell's advising him right now, I don't think has any interest in him winning the candidacy, because now he's attacking Trump, saying, oh, wait a second, you weaponized the justice system. You're only for weaponization of government as long as they're not coming after you.
Yeah.
And you're not going to win over those. You're not going to win over me. And I think he's done a phenomenal job as governor in Florida, but attacking the Trump base, saying that the DOJ going after him, saying the court's taking him off the ballot is just a crying fest for him. I don't know. It's not good.
I want to say something real quick and then get to you, Jamie, but you mentioned something about DeSantis and their followers and all that. And I want to reference something that somebody mentioned yesterday on our stream. Scotty, he said, you guys talked about how the DeSantis, I guess, sycophants or whatever you want to call them online were being really mean to the Trump supporters. Right. Well, Trump supporters, in defense, were actually also being mean to DeSantis supporters. Yeah. So it has worked out both ways. What we were referring to yesterday were people who were attacking me personally, and I don't just attack people for voting a certain way. If it comes down to it, the nomination of the Republican Party, I'm voting for.
Yeah.
I mean, I want Trump to win. I want his policies to win. I want Trump to clean house. I want something very radical to happen to this government because it needs to be to save this country.
Agreed.
But it's not just Trump. If somebody else is going to do it, and if we have no other choice, then it will be that other person.
Well, keep your eye out on those DeSantis voters. And I know I'm friends with a lot of DeSantis voters, but when I see in your public profile, hashtag DeSantis24, those are typically the ones that are just throwing bombs. And
they throw them all the time.
Are they being paid? Like, are they being paid to do this? Because I never saw, is this the new red hat, Trump MAGA hat moment where this is the way that you're displaying your support? I've never seen anybody do something like this. Like, if you're a radical troll, you're a radical troll. You're not going to follow the lead and everybody get in line and do the same sheepish thing of putting DeSantis 24. Again, you said this earlier. I'm voting for Trump because of the changes he previously made. I know that he didn't fully clean the swamp. He didn't fully build the wall, but I think we can get that done. None of these other candidates, I think, can. There are flaws in all of these candidates, so I'm not voting for them just because I love them.
Right.
I think they're the only ones that are actually going to save this republic. But these other people that are so in love with these candidates that they're putting into their profile, it's a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Trump's mugshot, but that's for a different reason. I've got his. I use his mugshot.
You're trolling
as my
the left.
Right. That's part of it. But I told people, I said, if he gets a mugshot, I'm using it as my profile picture. Period. And I did. That's the only reason.
In the last couple minutes that we have, Jamey, you are the guru. Some say that you're a Republican power broker, and heck, you've been on campaign since Eric Schmidt joined the Republicans in the Missouri Senate. Now he's in U.S. Senate. So let's look back at 2023. How divisive do you think it was compared to other years? What are the good things we got done? What were some of the bad?
Look, politics is always divisive. And in fact, if you look at how the system of government was set up, it was set up to force compromise and to force divisiveness and force debate, right? That is what the founders intended the House and the Senate and kind of that relationship to be. So it's always going to have this kind of tug-of-war things. And you always look at it through the lens of the now, right? Is this the worst? Is all the crazy stuff that ever happened, is this unique? You know, I think Andrew Jackson and Burr, after Hamilton got killed, ran off and tried to create a new country in southern United States. So, I mean, they were literally trying to create a new America of their own. We don't deal with some of the old historic things. So I think just each era is its own kind of crazy. But the General Assembly passed a historic low number of bills. And if you look at that from a productive standpoint, you know, that's either a good or a bad thing.
Yeah.
I get a lot of friends that go, well, what are you guys doing up there? Why aren't you passing stuff? And I go, well, what are you waiting for us to pass? What does the Missouri General Assembly need to do today to make your life better?
Well, I want to say personal property tax.
Right.
Amen.
There are things that we need to do, but that wasn't something that they were even taking seriously.
Okay.
Now, let me say they, as in like the moderate Republicans, weren't taking it seriously. They traded personal property tax, cut deals saying, we're going to do this for you if you give us this. We're going to do that for you if you give us this. And the conservatives gave them everything they wanted, every single step of the line, but the bar kept moving. Yep. Now, they'll argue that the bar moved the other way, too. So I don't know whose bar moved further, but at the end of the day, there was nobody dealing in good faith, period.
Well, I was going to say that playing nice aspect, and I was labeled as somebody going into the Senate from the House that I was going to filibuster. They must have heard my radio show every 8 to 10 p.m. on Sundays, Stand and Fight, because I do filibuster, and I've got a lot to say. But I played nice because I was labeled as the guy that was going to be at the tip of the spear, causing all of this destruction. We played nice this year. They burned themselves down to the ground. The moderates failed to stand up for we the people. They failed to stand with their Republican Party platform. Is this the year that the conservatives have to throw down and say, no, here's the Constitution. You will not shred another page.
And that's the problem that I have, is that you've got Republicans throughout the state that really aren't Republicans. I mean, they say they're Republicans so they can get elected, but what are we going to do about that?
Look, that's what a primary election is for, period. We have to have better candidates in all of these districts, and we have to make sure that people are out there supporting. Look, the grassroots in this state, I would argue, are the most active they've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
And the grassroots in the state are going to be the ones that expose people for what they are. And you actually see it. You see all these ratings and these charts and these elephants versus rhino stickers putting next to people's names being distributed at local Republican clubs. And if you go to Jeff City and you talk to people, they will scream about that all day long, how that's not fair, how we don't do that. So, I mean, the grassroots are kind of taking care of some of that, but we have to get better people in primaries. I mean, Jefferson County had several judges that they were elected on the bench for 10, 15 years as Democrats, realized they can no longer win, filed as Republicans, and nobody ran against them. We gave them a pass. Nobody challenged that.
Wow.
Right? Like, that's the problem. We have to have diligent primaries, and we have to have people getting and putting their name on the ballot.
So devious.
And if nobody does, put your name out there, listener. I mean, the majority of the people listening to this station can do a better job than half those in government.
Well, and that's what our founders intended. They didn't want these politicians to go up there for the prestige. They wanted public servants to stand up for their communities. A lot of them are going to be on the ballot this next year, wanting to get into the House, wanting to get in the Senate. Some other people that are running are already in the House or the Senate. We've got the Speaker of the House. We've got the President of the Senate. These are individuals that have been criticized by the grassroots for not being conservative enough, not voting like Republicans. Do you think this is the year, since they are running for higher office, that they're going to try to appease the grassroots? They're going to try to stick with their party platform, and we can actually get something done? Or is 2024 going to be a dumpster fire like we've never seen?
Look, 2024, the legislature has two paths, and both of them you just described. So the reality is if they want to get elected and prove that they're the guy, they need to lead by letting some good conservative things. We have to do personal property tax reform. I agree with you. We have to do something on crime, period.
Yes.
We have to do something on education, period.
Hallelujah.
And if we don't do those things this year, then none of them deserve to be promoted, period.
Yeah.
And what I'm afraid this year is going to break down to is, well, he's running against me or she's running against me. And while I like their idea, I can't let them get the credit because if we get into a war of credit as opposed to a war, what's good for Missourians.
Do we call that out then? I mean, and
You
this
should
is a
absolutely.
position where
on every angle. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's the most conservative person or the most liberal Republican.
Well, Tim Jones
absolutely should be
Tim
called out.
Jones has hit the nail on the head. We've only got a couple minutes left with Jamey,
who, by the way, is going to be hosting tomorrow.
Oh, awesome. So I might have to call in because he hit the nail on the head. It's not time for statesmen anymore. It's time because we're in the trenches of the last generation where we're going to lose this republic. So we need the trench fighters. We need the individuals that are calling out the people behind the scenes that are shredding our Constitution. So going into 2024, political resolutions will start with Ken. What's a resolution for you politically going into this next year?
Stop apologizing for anything. I mean, you've got to nudge forward like they nudge forward on the left.
White man.
I know.
What about,
unapologetically.
You straight white man.
Unapologetically.
Jamey, what about you? What is a political resolution for you with a couple seconds left?
I want to bind the party together. I want to bind all of I want to take the Republicans. I want to take Trump voters. I want to take anti-Trump voters. I want to take young voters. And I want to create a solid message that we can all stand on.
Amen. I'm right there with you. And that's why my resolution, it's not just because it's the name of my show. I'm going to keep standing. I'm going to keep fighting. We're going to read these bills out loud. We're going to ask individuals why their bills are these monstrosity omnibus bills and what it's going to do to save our republic. We need to bind the people back together. Ken, you've got something to say.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that stand and fight thing.
Yes.
What is that and when is it?
Every Sunday, 8 to 10 p.m. You can find it on Rumble, NewstalkSTL, stream it live. We've got a new studio this next year, so we're going to have some very special guests coming in live. And I challenge you as your New Year's resolution, call us in, debate, start talking again, and don't just mudsling. It's been a pleasure. This year has been incredible. Thank you to News Talk. Thank you to Ken. Thank you to Jamey. Thank you to SR1 Sundays and Phil. Thank you to the girls back at home. And thank you, the listener, here on the Vic Porcelli Show. Welcome home, baby.
And Happy New Year to you, Nick. Jamey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Whoosh.
Is your family prepared for the financial burden of losing a loved one?
Are you aware of the cost of a funeral?
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial could help you qualify for lifetime permanent final expense insurance coverage with no medical exam required.
Just answer a few health questions, and once accepted, your rates never increase.
Do you have diabetes? High blood pressure?
Have you had a heart attack? A stroke?
No problem.
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial can help protect your legacy.
Call or text 314-866-8886. That's 314-866-8886.
To learn more about permanent lifetime final expense insurance coverage.
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial could help you qualify for immediate coverage by answering just a few health questions.
Call or text 314-866-8886. Or learn more at memorialplans.com. That's memorialplans.com.
Policies underwritten by Senior Life Insurance Company, not available in all states.
Are you looking for an awesome space to have an incredible event this season, this holiday season, or just for any reason whatsoever? Your one-stop shop is View 17. That's VUE17.com, VUE17.com. Ultra-modern media conference and event center. You can have just about any event you can dream up there. It's on the 17th floor in the heart of the county of St. Louis. Check them out today. You will be impressed, and so will your guests. VUE17.com, View17.com.
Great news for my sponsor, Napoli Sea. And it's no surprise to me nor hundreds who have dined there. The first time I entered, it was clear Napoli Sea is unique. The decor, the fish, imaginative cocktails, and, of course, Napoli Sea is right next door to Napoli 3 in St. Charles. Napoli 2 is in Town and Country. The original Cafe Napoli is in Clayton, and I'm honored to endorse each of them. Visit any of the Cafe Napolis.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. More Americans applied for unemployment, but not enough to raise concern about the labor market or broader economy. The Labor Department reports that jobless claims rose to 218,000 for the week ending December 23rd. That's an increase of 12,000 from the previous week. The 4-week average of claims fell by 250 to 212,000. The Colorado Republican Party is appealing that state Supreme former President Donald Trump from its primary ballot. Correspondent Ken Lorman with details.
Jay Sekulow, a lawyer for the party, announced the appeal on his website. Mr. Trump himself will also appeal the decision in the coming days. The Colorado Supreme Court stayed its ruling until January 4. Appeal is resolved with the nation's highest court. The U.S. Supreme Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which the Colorado court found, made Mr. Trump ineligible for the presidency because it believed he violated the provisions ban on those who, quote, engaged in insurrection from holding office. Ken Lorman reporting.
Also at townhall.com, the list of security challenges keeps growing for election officials preparing for next year's presidential vote.
Many of the concerns from 4 years ago persist. These include possible cyber attacks targeting voter registration systems or websites that report unofficial results, and the potential for equipment problems or human errors to be amplified by those seeking to undermine confidence in the outcome. New risks that have emerged include death threats directed at election workers inside election offices. Rich Thomason reporting.
The Dow is ahead 44 points and the NASDAQ adding 21. More on these stories at townhall.com.
In Dinesh D'Souza's new blockbuster movie, Police State exposes the government's plot to control MAGA conservatives.
These are anti-government.
We have freedom of religion and freedom of speech.
Violent extremists, and they must be dealt with.
MAGA Republicans threaten the very foundation of our republic.
Mass surveillance, censorship, and armed attacks. There's nowhere to hide.
FBI, we have an arrest warrant.
15 marked units on my property.
Military pointing an automatic rifle at my head.
Are we becoming a police state?
It may be the Russia other people grew up in, but not my America.
Directed by Dinesh D'Souza, Debbie D'Souza, and Bruce Shuley. Police State.
What we need is a person, and then we go find out what crime you did. How did we give the state this kind of power?
Police State. They have their lists. Are you next?
If they're coming for me, they're coming for you.
Police State. Buy it or stream it now at salemnow.com. salemnow.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Still some light snow overnight, mostly melting on roads, but an isolated band of heavier snow not out of the question still overnight tonight. Most snow tapers off by 5 a.m. If there are any isolated heavier bands, that could overcome the melting on the roads and create some snowy, slick conditions briefly, but again, only in isolated spots with temperatures staying above freezing, a low of 34. Cloudy and cold, then Thursday, 41 for the high, but another round of light snow comes in Thursday evening into Friday morning. Some reduced visibility, but wet roads as it melts on the pavement with a low of 34 to Friday morning. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Hi, it's Mark McCloskey, and I'm proud to represent my friend Mike Lindell and MyPillow here for the Christmas season. You know, my buddy Mike Lindell is always looking for ways to solve everyday problems. His My Towels solved a problem that we've all had with towels. You go into the stores, and they feel lotiony and soft. When you get them home, they won't dry you. That's why he made My Towels. They actually work. They're soft and they absorb. And now MyPillow is excited to announce 2 brand new lines of My Towels. What makes them the best towels ever is they're now made with 100% long staple Sherpa cotton. This is a comb ring spun cotton that makes My Towels even softer and more absorbent than ever. And now you get a 6-piece set for an amazing introductory sales price as low as $29.98. So go to MyPillow.com, use promo code ONFIRE, or call 800-645-1392. you get Mike's designer premium line for just $20 more. Either way, you save 50% on all My Towels. They actually work. What a concept. Just go to MyPillow.com and use promo code ONFIRE. This offer won't last, so please order now.
Oh, this cold.
Honey?
Honey?
Honey, you need DayQuil Severe Honey.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honeylicious taste, because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe with honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honeylicious, power through your day medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because only the Sleep Number Climate 360 smart bed lets you each sleep up to 13 degrees cooler or warmer on either side, while you both sleep at your ideal level of firmness, comfort, and support, your Sleep Number setting. And now our all-new next-gen smart beds have temperature benefits, so you sleep better night after night. And now, during our Veterans Day sale, save 40% on the Sleep Number Special Edition smart bed. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com.
No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here.
Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1,
and always streaming at newstalkstl.com. News, analysis, opinion.
News Talk STL.
From the NYPD to the Secret Service to behind the microphone, taking the fight to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Dan Bongino Show. Here he is, Dan Bongino.
Man, what a day yesterday. Did we start a storm or what? So, hold on. Okay. We started absolutely a storm yesterday. And when I say a storm, I mean it rhymes with a fit storm, like, working out or something like that. If you know what I'm talking about. Well, how? So we did this show yesterday, both here and on the podcast. I just said podcast funny. I said podcast. The podcast. Sorry, I had a little water in my mouth. You might have to slide out there. We did this show about this new Barack Obama produced movie called Leave the World Behind, and how I feel like there's a message in there. They're trying to warn us. And, oh, man, did this thing start a storm. Holy Moses. So much so, I'm downstairs this morning. I'm working out a little bit, doing my thing. And I'm all sweaty. I got out of the sauna. I'm all sweaty. And I'm going through TikTok. Yeah, I got to go. I got to be on there for the show so I find out what's going on. Again, I'm not recommending you guys get on there. I'm just telling you it's part of my business here. I got to know what people are talking about. And I see a whole bunch of videos of these naysayer types, and they're trying to downplay my show. They're not mentioning me directly, but it's clear they're talking about me. They're like, there are a bunch of people out there saying that this Leave the World Behind is kind of a message from Obama and the world's elites and stuff. And here's the message. Let me tell you something. They're like, don't you worry about nothing. They're like, don't worry, Jim. It's all good, folks. Don't you sweat it. And then one of the guys at the end, he's like a real smart ass. He's like, and I love how a lot of these people talk about things they know nothing about. And I'm thinking, that's like hilarious, because it was actually my job before I came over here. But that's for another day. Self-praise stinks, and most of the people who say that know very little about what they're talking about. Anyway, it's kind of a self-defense mechanism. But we started a big conversation. And what amazes me, and even after telling you yesterday that this movie, I believe, is a warning that the threat of a massive cyber strike or EMP attack that would wipe out connectivity in the internet, and how destructive that would be in our new internet-centric world. It's a topic Tucker Carlson has addressed too recently. He's been under fire for addressing it as well. Oh, you guys are being apocalyptic. It's incredible how many people have faith in this system based on nothing at all. They're like, no, the government's going to figure it out. It is. Really? The same government, bipartisan, by the way, that couldn't figure out how to respond to COVID? No. You mean the same government that figured out the Obamacare health? Oh, no. You mean the same government that responded and prevented the 9/11? Oh, no, not them either. You mean the same government whose intel people didn't see the... Oh, yeah, that one. The Russia strike on Ukraine. Yeah, they're definitely going to figure it out, folks. One of the guys in the video, he's like, claims to be some intel guy. Amazingly, he's like, and you're ignoring the fact that our intel services are the best in the world. Jim, it's the same intel service that predicted the October... Oh, yeah, they missed that. The same one, 9/11. And the same one that said the Russia... That, you know what? They're 0 for 3. They're 0 for... It's so strange. But they're really good at spying on President Trump. And we're supposed to trust them. That Obama, who was the president, who does a movie with a director who says, the director says, I spoke to Obama and he scared the out of me. We're supposed to just ignore that, despite the fact that I cited to you yesterday mainstream media reports in the New York Times, Washington Post, PBS. Again, I'm not telling you mainstream in a good way. I'm telling you mainstream, and a lot of people listen to these idiots, suggesting that exactly what the movie said could happen, this destructive cyber attack causing mass chaos. I cited to you numerous media reports, Fox News as well, of the Chinese Communist Party's intentions of doing exactly that based on the intel reports the guy says basically don't exist. We started a huge conversation yesterday about this. I'm going to get to the Hunter stuff. Jim, you know what? We'll get to that later. Jim's got some cuts. The Hunter Biden thing, there was some breaking news today. I'll just briefly hit on it before I get back to what I want to get to today. And I promise I'll get to it in a little more detail later for you. Folks, don't lose a lot of sleep over this. There's some people freaking out I saw on social media today. Like, oh my gosh, Hunter Biden, he showed up to it was supposed to be his deposition up on Capitol Hill. Went outside with his lawyer, gave a big speech, and apparently didn't show up for the actual deposition. Gee, can we put the cable on here? I want to just see what happened with that, if there's any developments. And a bunch of people were freaking out. And like, he got over on us again. And I keep saying to people, I actually posted on Twitter and True Social right before I came up on the show. If we're losing this fight with Hunter Biden, can you explain to me how Joe Biden's numbers are the worst in modern presidential history? I'm not telling you we can't do more. I'm not telling you we can't do better. I'm not telling you Hunter Biden's going to find himself in prison. He most likely won't. I'm simply telling you this. If we're losing, how is Joe Biden losing every swing state to President Trump, some by double digits? Don't panic over this. Don't lose any sleep over this. And don't lose any sleep over this Harvard president keeping her job either. Harvard's reputation is now completely garbage. They have a president who needs context to explain genocide to her. If people with Harvard degrees are pulling them off their walls right now and putting them in the garbage because they don't want anyone to see them. I'll get to a little bit more of that later. And one of the points I definitely want to emphasize is how this Hunter Biden fiasco, they're not trying to protect Hunter Biden, the media. They're trying to protect Barack Obama. It was Obama's vice president. Obama's vice president who did all this in Ukraine while Obama made Joe Biden a point man and his son had a job over there. They're protecting Obama. Don't be confused about this at all. All right, more on that later, but I want to get back to what I was talking about. So yesterday's show definitely started a big conversation. There are basically two camps of people now. There are people now who choose to willingly ignore the threat. This Obama movie is a proxy. It's a proxy for, I believe, what the intel community is really concerned about right now, and that is the declining readiness of the United States to counter a massive China cyber attack. I believe the warnings are out. I believe the WEF and others have been warning us for a while. And I think this movie is Obama's kind of way of winking and nodding and saying, listen, happiest president in modern history before Joe Biden, I think I owe it to you to kind of say, hey, this is a real threat. Why was he so interested in this movie? I want you to listen to this. This is Eva, I'll just call her Eva V. I'm sorry. Vlardinger Brooke. I always say her name wrong. But did I get it right? All right, good. Jim's like celebrating, actually celebrated her. She was on Real America's Voice yesterday with Steve Bannon. She was talking about this World Economic Forum video, warning about a cyber pandemic and a massive cyber attack, and how this Obama movie kind of parlays nicely after yesterday's show, how this may be some kind of narrative building, like they're kind of trying to tell us something. Sounds like the show yesterday. She thinks the same thing I do. Take a listen to this.
And this was a video in which they supposedly warned us for a cyber, interesting choice of words there. And they detail what could happen if we are under a cyber attack, and that the only way that we could solve an attack like that would be to disconnect everything and everyone completely from the internet. And now you can imagine what would happen if you disconnect everyone from the internet, right? We would see everything just basically going into chaos anymore. Even something as simple as like, traffic lights or ambulances or any type of control or communication system that goes online work. So I figured this seems to me like a classic case of where not just the World Economic Forum, but now also through movies and, fictional stories, prepare the public to the idea of cyber attacks and the potential chaos that could come with that.
I love that. Predictive programming. Eloquently said. She kind of sums up in my show today. And yesterday, excuse me. I don't want that to sound wrong, like she was stealing it from me. She's been talking about this for a while. She's been on this way before I even mentioned it yesterday. So don't take that the wrong way. The implication there was, if it came off that way, it was unintended. She's 100% correct. Folks, everything we discussed in yesterday's show about the increasing threat of a cyber attack that could do catastrophic damage to the United States and cause us to be so fatally wounded, we could be subjected to anything from societal collapse to a government. Those threats are improbable, but not entirely unlikely. And the guy that went after us, I'm not even going to say his name because the guy is such a self-righteous tool. I'm not going to give him a single click. And again, he doesn't mention my name. All he does is basically crap on other people. Nothing to this guy's a threat, ever. But the only reason I bring up is he's very popular on TikTok. This guy's, every one of his threads is China is not a threat. Iran's not a threat. This army's not a threat. They're not a threat. Terrorists aren't a threat. That nothing's a threat to this guy, despite the fact that stuff keeps happening. Tell Israel that. One of the world's leading economic just had thousands of their citizens wiped out in an October 7th brutal attack by the same guys. This guy's like, yeah, they're not a threat. Does he not understand asymmetric warfare? Understand the concept of the black swan. Nassim Taleb talks about this all the time. Some people like him, some people don't. I really don't. Online beefs. But he has a book, The Black Swan. Interesting book. It's long. It's not a narrative, so it's told. You can kind of read it, chapter 8 and then chapter 1. But he talks about in The Black Swan that these black swan events are real. And the problem with black swan events, which are extremely rare, is that the outcomes are potentially fatal. So if you miss them, there's no going back and there's no do-over. It's not Wayne's World with the hockey game, okay? There's no do-overs. The reason I'm concerned about this stuff, and I brought up to you yesterday this Obama movie about a cyber attack in the United States, and the media's been warning us, is we don't get to say, like this TikTok guy, hey, listen, man, this is no big deal. It's unlikely. Yeah, no, Sherlock. A lot of things were unlikely, like a financial collapse in 2008, 2009, too. And it happened. And it wiped people out. Because a bunch of people were like, nah, they're not going to let the mortgage market fold. That was a bad bet, bro. You know what's a black swan event, too? An airplane crash. They're exceedingly rare. You have any idea how many thousands of flights take off and land every day in the United States alone? They're exceedingly rare. So why do we spend so much time and attention on plane maintenance, FAA restrictions, TRACONs, and everything else if these things are rare? Because, folks, even though it's a black, you're dead when it happens. The reason people are afraid of airplane crashes in contrast to car crashes, nobody goes, oh, man, I'm terrified of car crashes. You hear a lot of people terrified of flying. is because they don't have any control in the air. Control, there's a fear factor associated with that. People feel like in cars they can just control it, even though you're far more likely to die in a car crash than a plane crash. Far more likely. It's not even close. Even though the plane is so fearsome, people do everything they can to avoid danger from it. Interestingly enough, yesterday I bring up this show about a former president discussing the end of the world through a Chinese cyber attack. I cited headlines from you, from media outlets, maybe 5-10 headlines about China preparing a cyber attack in the United States from outlets even the left says are credible. And there are still people out there, remarkably, who blindfolds over and go, oh, no, nothing's going to happen. Okay, good luck. So today I want to cover the aftermath. What would that look like? What would that look like if we lost? What would it look like if a cyber attack or an EMP wiped out our grid? What would it look like if a civil war broke out here and the CCP took advantage of it? What would it look like if the Chinese Communist Party beat us in the quantum computing AI race and held the exclusive control over a superintelligence while we didn't? What would that look like? The answer is it ain't good. More coming up next.
Bongino.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. Other companies might deliver a lot of hay. ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site. Stay. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Dan Bongino.
Because truth matters.
Let's speak that truth.
Because understanding matters.
Let's break this down.
With all that's happening.
And it's happening a lot faster.
What matters most is...
the only question that matters here.
Are you informed?
Important issues that are facing this country.
Depend on us.
The latest events.
The information you need.
Here are the facts.
When you need it.
We always have great conversations.
You guys have a great radio station.
101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli. We're here with Kathy and Rob Connor from Connor Roofing. Rob, people call you, you take care of them. What would you like to say to some of your customers?
Thank you, Vic. We just want to tell all of our customers we appreciate them putting their trust in us. We've had a really busy year, and we want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
So you know you can put your trust in the folks at Connor Roofing. We appreciate Rob and Kathy Connor for coming by. Go to ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Patrick Hedger, Executive Director of the Taxpayer Protection Alliance Foundation.
You know, the problem is that technology is just not ready for prime time yet. These electric cars don't work when it's cold out, so that whole, not rain nor sleet nor snow is going to stop us has just gone right out the window. Cold weather is going to stop the Postal Service and their electric trucks.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. I love to grill and definitely prefer using charcoal over gas. And ever since I met Jonathan Heslop and he introduced me to his product, Rockwood Lump Charcoal, I can't use anything else. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory and has been the nationally highest consumer-ranked charcoal for several years. So you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. Doesn't get any better than that. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
The Freedom Principle and News Talk STL invite you to a special St. Louis City Town Hall on Friday, January 12th at the Immaculate Heart of Mary Church. Join moderator Tim Jones and expert panelists for a crucial discussion, Building a Better, Safer St. Louis City. Learn what legislators are doing in Jefferson City to protect and build a safer community for all citizens. The St. Louis City Town Hall is free and open to the public. Visit freedomprinciplemo.org for more information.
When it's important to you,
Great, you're talking about this.
it's on News Talk STL.
Continue to supply Ukraine with critical weapons and equipment as long as we can.
This administration and Democrats are not for securing our border, but they are for securing the Ukrainian border.
News, analysis, opinion.
I'm also here today to correct how the MAGA right has portrayed me for their political purposes.
This is an impeachment inquiry. 1019 and 94.1.
It's been a serious, credible, transparent investigation from day one.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
Will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper, and you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
At Consumer Cellular, you get the same exact coverage as the largest carriers, but for up to half the cost. Same thing, up to half the cost. Up to half the cost for the same thing. 50% the money for 100% the same thing. I hope I'm making myself clear. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 5 GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
America, land of the free, home of the Dan Bongino Show.
People, detractors to this show and others do, because me and Tucker we've been delivering like newspaper boys the exact same worried about Donald Trump's safety. Why? I'm only basing it on, let's just say, information I have from people I just might know. I mean, given my line of work. Been warning you about things like a potential EMP strike. Been warning you attack because these things are likely. No, not because they're likely, but because the outcome is catastrophic. Detractors who accuse us of like click farming or whatever, which in and of itself is I mean, tragically hilarious. We never do that. You know how many stories we did because we always like to be right and not first? I mean, I think we have a reputation for that. Like, these are the same people who tell you, oh, you're worried about nothing. The United States is prepared. While Chinese spy balloons fly over the United States like it's nothing. For what? What are we prepared for? I said it to you before. Thankfully, we were prepared for the October 7th terror attack. Oh, that's right. That's right. We weren't. But at least we were, prepared for the invasion of Ukraine. But we missed that. We missed that one too. We missed that one too. We're so prepared. I told you yesterday, I was an agent on 9/11. You realize almost nothing worked, right? Almost nothing. The reload plan, the comms. Go watch oh, damn, what are you giving up inside information? Go watch the National Geographic special about Air Force One on 9/11. Where they're like, we couldn't get a call out on Air Force One. What do you mean? That's the only time you would use that system is in an emergency. Yeah, exactly. No, it didn't work. No, but we're prepared, folks. You have to personally prepare. Forget the government. You got to personally prepare because these people will let you down.
The Dan Bongino Show. Portions pre-recorded.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Minimum purchase required. Interest accrues from date of purchase, but is waived if paid within promotional period. Go to window.
Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? Fog between the glass? Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen.
$375 off every window and $750 off every door. Just text FOG to 200-300 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for $0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Text 300 right now to save $375 off every window. Off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings won't last long. Text FOG to 200-300. Don't wait. Text the word FOG to 200-300. Text FOG to 200-300.
Dan Bongino.
Are you paying too much? With SRN News, I'm John Scott. More Americans applying for unemployment benefits last week, but not enough to raise concern about the labor market or broader economy. The Labor Department reports that jobless claims rose to 218,000 for the week ending December 23rd. That's an increase of 12,000 from the previous week. Israeli forces have bombarded cities, towns, and refugee camps across Gaza overnight. The air and ground offensive against Hamas has widened to most of the territory, Israel vowing to dismantle Hamas and bring back more than 100 hostages still held by the terrorists after their October 7th attack into southern Israel. The Dow is ahead 45 points now, and the NASDAQ adding 25 points. This is SRN News.
In Dinesh D'Souza's new blockbuster movie, Police State exposes the government's plot to control MAGA conservatives.
These are anti-government.
We have freedom of religion and freedom of
extremists, and they must be dealt with.
MAGA Republicans threaten the very foundation of our republic.
Mass surveillance, censorship, and armed attack.
FBI, we have an arrest warrant.
15 marked units on my property.
Military-styled soldiers pointing an automatic rifle at my head.
Are we becoming a police state?
It may be the Russia other people grew up. Directed by Dinesh D'Souza, Debbie D'Souza, and Bruce Shuey, Police State sounds the alarm.
What we need is a person, and then we go find out what crime you did. How did we give the state this kind of power?
Police State, they have their lists. Are you next?
If they're coming for me, they're coming for you.
Police State. Buy it or stream it now at salemnow.com. salemnow.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
We're really not enforcing our laws upon anybody.
That matters to St. Louis.
We will bring them to justice, and we will reach every Hamas terrorist who's responsible.
101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here to tell you it's officially landscape lighting season at Pro Outdoor. To see some of their incredible lighting work, visit their website, prooutdoor.com. They offer low-voltage landscape lighting that really makes your home stand out from your neighbors. If you're looking for accent lighting, path lighting, or wanting to expand your outdoor living space, or just looking for a little more security around your home, the team at Pro Outdoor are the ones to call. Pro Outdoor can take care of all your outdoor needs, including lawn fertilization, irrigation installation and service, as well as landscape lighting. They're offering some great end-of-year specials. Be sure to call them today. Schedule a consultation. That's prooutdoor.com.
I got an email which brought a smile. A woman named Mary wrote me, "We are purchasing a new roof from John Beal based on your recommendation." I thanked her then. I do it again now. Mary, I only endorse clients I believe in. And I've been a spokesman for John Beal for 10 years. It's all about trust. So if, like Mary, you need John Beal, trust me. Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter.
Hi, it's Todd Showalter from The Right Mind Show, where we put the fun in our dysfunctional world. And there's nothing more dysfunctional than the holidays. Crowded malls, drunk relatives, and of course, the holiday fruitcake, who I refer to as my Uncle Bob. So join me and my buddy Joey B this Saturday, won't you? Hey, it's better than kissing Grandma under the mistletoe.
The Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter. Saturday evenings at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you this holiday by LiberalJoke.com. Columbo and Katie.
Just a few days away from 2024 and less than a week till the start of the legislative session in Missouri. We'll preview the session Thursday with Representative Justin Sparks at 2:20. Then we'll talk to Dr. Randy Tobler at 3:05.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
Merry
Any questions? Call 8444-the-USA to get the answers. 83872. The Dan Bongino Show.
Yeah, faith in the system. What kind of faith you have in this system to bring these threats? Why would you have faith in the system? I don't understand what evidence you would have to back that up. So yesterday we warned you that I think people are trying to tell us something. When I say people, I mean globalists, connected folks, people like Obama. I don't think it's an accident that we're seeing a whole bunch of storylines and threads and everything about movies and about the end of the world and all this other stuff and massive cyber attacks and EMP strikes. I don't think it's a coincidence that these people are all, WEF videos about a cyber pandemic. They weren't concerned about it. If they weren't concerned about it, then why would they be putting these videos out? And if your best response, like the TikTok guy I've been talking about, who's trying to downplay all this is, oh, no, don't worry. They've got a plan for it. Don't worry. We're all forward deployed. Like, what evidence do you actually have of that? I made a statement yesterday, in fact, about the devastating impacts of an EMP strike on the United States, however unlikely, but not at all impossible to do. If you really believe we're prepared for it, ask your local electric company guy when he's out fixing a line, hey, are there Faraday cages and stuff protecting these transformers? When he tells you no, there's your proof positive right there. There's no plan. What's the plan? What's the plan, man? And I bring this up because after yesterday's show, I thought it only to tell you what the world actually looks like. Here's my biggest fear with this. China is unquestionably preparing a cyber attack. Would it be offensive? I doubt it. Would it be defensive if they start to lose a war for possession of Taiwan in the strait over there? Yeah, I mean, again, unlikely, but definitely not impossible. Say the cyber attack is devastating and wipes out the Southeast interconnectivity to the internet. Pull the plug. What are you going to do? Nothing's going to work. Water pumps, nothing. Zero is going to work. About a significant chunk of the population of the United States, figuratively and literally, be left in the dark. Now, combine that with threat that China is going to beat us in the quantum computing race. In other words, have supercomputers millions of times more powerful than what we have now. Please explain to me then, if an existential threat were to hit China, why they wouldn't use that superior computing power, apply it to artificial intelligence, and use it to crush us. I don't understand what your logic is. Because they're nice guys? Maybe it's because I got paid in my prior line of work. And I don't throw this in the garbage. I get there's a bias here. My prior line of work as a Secret Service agent was to think of really bad stuff that would happen, however unlikely it was. So I'm not immune to that. Maybe it is just me being slightly over paranoid based on biases from my prior line of work. However, I'd rather lean in the direction of preparedness than not. What would the world look like if they invented a functioning quantum computer and AI system before we did? You think China could get a foothold here? What do you think would happen if there was some kind of civil war and mass chaos in the United States and a Chinese Communist Party growing in leaps and bounds due to a quantum breakthrough in computing they didn't share with us? What do you think it would look like when they came over? You really believe the Vichy libs here? You believe the liberals here wouldn't and say, oh, gosh, Chinese Communist Party, us out, done. What would that new system look like here if China got a foothold over here or some other communist government? The answer is it would look a whole lot like the government you have right now, just worse. Central bank controlled currencies, social credit scoring, censorship, police tyranny. That sounds familiar. Yes. I want you to listen to this. This is an American over in China. This was from Wall Street Silvers. He's in China. He's watching a couple people jaywalk in China. They get caught jaywalking at the last minute. He's recording a camera on the street, which shames these people for using facial ID instantly for jaywalking. You want to see what the United States would look like if we lose? Something like this. Listen to this.
Don't get public shamed. There it is. Look at this guy. Oof, got him. Oh, got her, dude. Oh. So, just so you guys know, do not jaywalk in China. You will be shamed.
On my podcast on Rumble. Watch the video. It's even worse. Wait till the show and go back and watch the video. It's short. This is the system they have now. How long do you think, if there were a even partial United States, it would be before the Vichy libs here invited the Chinese Communist Party? How long? Minutes, seconds? All the stuff the liberals want, China already has. AI integration, facial ID, geofencing. Oh, they don't want that. Really, it's what they used on January 6th to rope a bunch of people in. What do you mean they don't want that here? They already have it here. It would just be worse. China would come over and go, we got some. We can super juice this stuff. What about this Daily Mail report? China public toilet forces people to scan their faces before being allowed toilet paper to reduce waste. That's, man, imagine, that's, you're out one night having a few tequilas. You go and have, it ain't working. You're like, no, I don't. Oh, look, there's a public bathroom. And then it's like, please scan your face to enter the bathroom. We got that video on the Rumble show today, too, if you want to watch it. It's an actual video. But the Daily Mail is covering it because it's a guy in there showing his face, so he doesn't talk. And then in order to get the toilet paper, he's got to show his face again. You're going to get a letter from the Chinese Communist Party? Imagine that all coming here. Hey, you've used an unusual amount of toilet. Sounds to me like you're eating a lot of meat. What kind of meat are you eating? Did you get your carbon passport for that? You got to watch these videos. I've got them all on the show today. They're really disturbing. You want to see what the aftermath of the collapse of the United States would look like when the Vichy libs, I'm telling you, invite the Communist Party over here to come and get a foothold here? Come and rescue us from the evil capitalism. That did this. This one. Cut 3. Did you translate this, Jim? You did. Okay. You got to listen to Jim's voice in the translation. This is a Vice News report. It's about a guy in China. He's very concerned about his social credit score, that it's not high enough to allow him to ride a train over there. And I want you to listen to the way he talks about this social credit system, because this will be coming here. This isn't a credit score like you're used to get a loan. This is a social credit score. In other words, they score everything you do and you get a score. And if it ain't high enough, you're not allowed to partake in society like everyone else. But I want you to listen to how the guy talks about it. He's almost laudatory about it, like he likes it. Why? Because he is evidence of what the useful idiot in the United States. They get so used to being subjugated people under this system, big daddy government, that they actually crave. They crave the appreciation of it. Listen to this guy. Check this out.
And done volunteer work to increase my credit score.
The system might have caused him to suffer, but Zhang is unwavering in his support for the government's push to score him.
Only through this system, discipline those who can't discipline themselves.
By 2020, China plans to track, rate, reward, and punish all of its citizens, essentially turning every personal experience into a transaction.
Does my ID work now?
No. He's got his high score back.
Yes, you can buy tickets. Oh, thanks.
At least for now.
Doing all the good deeds like donations and such to gain points, I can now buy high-speed train tickets. I am finally a normal person.
I am finally a normal person to buy train tickets. This would be the Vichy libs over here, the sellouts. These would be the people who would usher in a foreign government in the event of some collapse here and immediately institute systems of social control like this over here. Listen, man, again, I get it. You've got a bunch of media dorks listen to my show like, oh my gosh, this sounds crazy. These are the exact same people who told you on October 6th that Israel were being bullies. This is just a bunch of people out there to take on Israel. Oh, really? They engaged in a massive terror strike that broke down order in that specific Israel. Are you crazy? They absolutely have the will and the ability. And these sellout libs would be the first ones escorting a new surveillance-style government in to rescue the United States from the apocalypse they brought on. There's some other videos on my podcast of children using facial scanning to pay for lunch in a public bathroom. There are ones I saw before, people on a public train using facial scanning, knowing everywhere you're going, have been, everything you bought. There's a QR code for apartments. They're putting up these stickers. Scan the QR code and ask permission to get in so they know everywhere you go. Make no mistake, the aftermath of this would be real. And the detrimental effect on your individual civil liberties would be real. Listen to me. You can gaff that off all you want. But that show I did yesterday, both radio and podcast, went nuclear for a reason. That's because a lot of people see this exactly as I do. That there are a bunch of really powerful people out there who probably understand in depth that the United States' defenses against a massive cyber strike and an apocalyptic level attack are not as robust as the media people who want you to believe in Big Daddy government think they are. Folks, I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to say this with a lot of caution for obvious reasons. I don't know if I should say this, but now I feel obligated because I'm already knee deep. I was very in my career I'm trying to be very delicate here, about how many things I thought were that really. I'm going to leave that there. I lived it. I was there. There are a lot of radio hosts out there that have absolutely wonderful expertise in very specific areas. I'm not a lawyer. I was not a CIA guy. I was not a gun advocate. I say this in a complimentary, they have very specific, terrific bodies of knowledge, and I go to them for that stuff. I did this stuff. And I'm telling you, if you were put in the government, when Obama and others are putting out this movie, this is kind of stuff that could happen here, and you think the government is going to come in and save you, you are out of your mind. Now, the government itself, continuity of government plans are very real. What they're comprised of is not for public knowledge, but they're out there. The continuity of the people of the United States plans, though, are a distant second, almost non-existent. You better get that through your head, because the Chinese Communist Party is working really fast on a superintelligence using computing. And if they beat us to that line, folks, it's obvious what would happen. Why is it that human beings, although given our stature as mammals, we're one of the weakest species on the planet. You ever try to fight a chimpanzee? You have any idea how strong they are? They'll chew your face off when they rip your arms out. They're not only that, they're violent. You want to fight a silverback gorilla? You want to fight a mountain lion? A cheetah? You'd lose, right? Yeah, but how come human beings dominate the planet? Why are we the superior species? The answer is because of our freaking brain buckets. Because we can outthink these species that are stronger and faster than us. How do you think it's going to... It's the exact same analogy applies if the Chinese Communist Party beats us in quantum computing and AI. If they have hold of a superintelligence millions of times smarter than us, how does that story I just told you about our superiority over the cheetahs not apply to that? I say that to all these TikTok folks out there telling, oh, don't worry about this movie and all this threat. We've got it all under control. Yeah, do we? Do we? I'm not so convinced, bro. I'm not so convinced. And yeah, I lived it. I don't know what the hell you did for a living besides making TikTok videos. But I know what I did. And I know what I saw. And it does nothing to dissuade me from believing at all that this government is entirely, completely unprepared to back us up if something major were to happen, like a cyber attack or an EMP strike. Nothing. All right, I want to talk about this quantum thing and the threat of it coming up in a minute after the break, so stay tuned. Important stuff. We'll be right back.
Bongino.
Freedom is the key to any good relationship. It's about being around each other because you want to be around each other, not because some contract or some inflexible data plan are holding you down. Consumer Cellular knows that a good connection with somebody isn't something you can take for granted. It's something you earn with every bill you send, every fee you don't charge, every charge you don't hide. That's why Consumer Cellular lets you walk away at any time, no feelings hurt. That's why at Consumer Cellular, you only pay for the data you need each month, whether it's 1 gig or a bajillion. So anyway, listener, Consumer Cellular wanted me to ask you if you're into that kind of thing, freedom, love, having a good time. If maybe you wanted to go steady. If you do, check yes or call us. We love talking on the phone. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Dan Bongino.
Talk radio made in St. Louis for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL.
Our responsibility.
News, analysis, and opinion.
To provide updated guidance.
At 101.9, 94.1, and NewstalkSTL.com.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
Classic Kicks Country is streaming now. Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s.
I should have been a cowboy.
Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks.
Let's go, girls.
Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at ClassicKicks.com.
I'll go back.
Or enable the Classic Kicks skill on Alexa.
I love this station.
90s new country streaming now. Get charged up on the truth. Power Punch with Larry Behrens.
Everyone's talking about the $6 billion Joe Biden sent to Iran just about a month ago. As well they should be. But did you know he has opened up the money flow to Tehran for well over a year? He doesn't want to talk about it, but we will.
Power Punch with Larry Behrens. Saturday afternoons at 4 on News Talk STL.
Get more Power Punch at powerthefuture.com.
Major phone carriers make you sign contracts with rigid data plans to trap you into a kind of forced phonogamy. Sounds pretty insecure if you ask me. At Consumer Cellular, we believe in a more consensual and healthy form of phonogamy, free of contracts and more flexible to your data needs. This way, you stick around not because we force you to with contracts and fees, but because you love our phone plans. Like ardently love our phone plans. Phonogamously. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? A man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $110 per month. Level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, there are great rates available for you as well. Call Term Busters for a quote. 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636. Remember, call Term Busters. 1-800-908-7636. Sample rate for preferred non-tobacco rate class. Exam required to qualify.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Thursday, we'll be talking to Chris Stegall of the Herzog Foundation about our most important treasure, our children, at 5:25 p.m.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
You might just hear something that can change your life, or you might not. But why take that chance? The Dan Bongino Show.
Yeah, faith in the government. You know, you might as well have faith in a 1980s Times Square Rolex you're buying from a guy in a trench coat. Good luck. He's like, here you go. I've got some Folexes. Folex. Did you say Rolexes? Yeah, Folex. Really? Rolex. Yeah, Folex. Oh, that sounds like an F. Oh, the latest one, the fake Oakley glasses. Yeah, I've got some Oakleys. Oh, you mean Oakleys? Yeah, Oakley. Good luck with that. Because I'm just going on research and the receipts and the reporting that's out there that there's a big threat, sort of Damocles, hanging over our heads. And we could do something about it, or we could just sit here and ignore it. I choose to be prepared. I know you do too. Liberals are the one. There'll be a great process of like the herd and morons who didn't get prepared if something is to happen. Really? Who are like, oh, no, nothing's going to happen. No, it will happen. It's only a matter of time. Folks, let's talk about AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. These are trying times. Everything's expensive, but AMAC can help you and your family discover some savings. You can save from 10 to 65% on cell phones and products, vision, dental, prescription drugs, travel and lodging, movie tickets, a lot, food and dining, and more. Go to amac.us/Dan. The savings alone will more than pay for your subscription. With prices on the rise everywhere, AMAC is your family's connection for financial survival. They have an advisory service for Social Security and Medicare. It's designed to help you better understand these programs and answer any questions you may have. Join us/Dan today. Stand in solidarity with me and over 2 million patriots by joining AMAC today at amac.us/Dan. That's amac.us/Dan, the Association of Mature American Citizens. Better for you, better for America. Join today at amac.us/Dan.
Imagine a world where hands reach out to help one another and to help our first responders. Did you know that a recent study by Western Connecticut State University reveals that with each hour spent volunteering, your own happiness goes up by 16%? If you've ever wanted to be the spark, the change maker, the time is now. Volunteer a few hours with the David Dorn Foundation and ignite a new day for police officers and first responders. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer. We're waiting to hear from you.
This is Christina Straight with Straight Realty reminding you, why pay more than $4? In 2003, we had a dream to start a real estate company that would revolutionize the real estate market. Now, 20 years later, after navigating through the many markets' ups and downs, we know exactly how to help you in this challenging time. I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Don't give away your hard-earned equity. Give us a call today, 314-441-4444, 314-441-all-4s. And remember, why pay more than $4?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri. How'd you like to eliminate your expensive cable bill forever or get new satellite internet where cable can't go? Well, now you can have affordable satellite internet service for a few dollars a day. All you need is a mini satellite installed, and you can have unlimited internet connections wirelessly in your home or office. And no cable boxes means unlimited connections and no clutter. You can surf the internet or stream any of your favorite television services with no cable. And the best part is, satellite internet service costs only a few dollars a day for your entire home. Yes, fast internet to surf or stream television for a few bucks a day. Call now for free details and learn how to drop your expensive cable bill.
800-696-2871. 800-696-2871. 800-696-2871. That's 800-696-2871.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. House Republicans expand their impeachment probe into whether President Biden was involved in his decision to defy a congressional subpoena ordering him to sit for a closed-door deposition earlier this month.
Instead of attending his scheduled deposition, Hunter Biden appeared briefly outside the U.S. Capitol to reiterate that he would only answer questions in a public setting. The White House said President Biden was certainly familiar with what his son was going to say when he defied his subpoena.
That's congressional correspondent Edwin Mora reporting. Also at townhall.com, on the international front, Israeli forces have bombarded cities, towns, and refugee camps across Gaza overnight. The air and ground offensive against Hamas has widened out to most of the territory. Israel has vowed to dismantle Hamas and bring back more than 100 hostages that are still being held. There's growing tension now between North and South Korea. Karen Chamas reports.
North Korean state-run KRT News showed Kim speaking in the capital Pyongyang during a key political meeting tasked with setting state objectives for 2024. Kim's comments indicated again that North Korea will likely continue weapons tests at their arsenal. The following day, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol was greeted by a chorus of cheers as he visited a frontline army unit that is based in Yeoncheon at the border with North Korea. During the visit, Yoon told the military personnel, if provoked, you should immediately respond and retaliate before reporting to your higher-ups later. I'm Karen Chamas.
Stocks remain higher, the Dow up 78 points, and the NASDAQ ahead 33. More at townhall.com.
In Dinesh D'Souza's new blockbuster movie, Police State exposes the government's plot to control MAGA conservatives.
These are anti-government.
We have freedom of religion and freedom of speech.
Violent extremists, and they must be dealt with.
MAGA Republicans threaten the very foundation of our republic.
Mass surveillance, censorship, and armed attacks. There's nowhere to hide.
FBI, we have an arrest warrant.
15 marked units on my property.
Military-styled soldiers pointing an automatic rifle at my head.
Are we becoming a police state?
It may be the Russia other people grew up in, but not my America.
Directed by Dinesh D'Souza, Debbie D'Souza, and Bruce Shuey, Police State sounds the alarm.
What we need is a person, and then we go find out what crime you did. How did we give the state this kind of power?
Police State, they have their lists. Are you next?
If they're coming for me, they're coming for you.
Police State. Buy it or stream it now at salemnow.com. salemnow.com.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
I have a question for you. If I told you the god of chaos was approaching, who would you think that might be? Oh, are you one of the ones saying Trump? That's Trump. Or maybe you're saying, no, it's Biden. What if I told you it's neither, officially? NASA identifies a meteor approaching the Earth due here in 2029, maybe originally with a 3% chance of hitting the Earth, as a god of chaos. Now they decided it will not hit Earth. It'll pass by, a close flyby, about 20,000 miles. But they're going to be monitoring the god of chaos anyway. So now someone says the god of chaos is coming. You can say, well, it's not going to be until 2029, and I've got plenty of time to plan, and we don't think it's going to hit us. And you would be correct. So far. But then again, the God of Chaos might actually be in Canada even as I speak. That's right, the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, making good on a promise that he was going to put tampons in every restroom, including men's rooms. Activists saying it's unfair to expect menstruating employees to bring their own products to work. And there are some men who, no, they don't. There's a God of Chaos.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
Anti-Semitism exploding everywhere in our nation. Even a Muslim girl telling a rabbi, you should kill yourself.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Vincent's Jewelers carries a full selection of lab-grown diamonds and jewelry containing lab-grown diamonds. Lab-grown diamonds are a great alternative to natural mined diamonds. They have the same physical, chemical characteristics of a traditional diamond, beauty, durability you want, but at a 70 to 90% discount. See them in person at Vincent's and at vincentsjewelers.com. vincentsjewelers.com.
Dealing with storm damage? Don't panic. Eureka Contracting and Roofing is here to help. With the recent storms, they understand it can be overwhelming. Remember, you don't have to rush into signing with the first door-to-door salesman. Don't let pushy sales tactics force you into a contract you're not comfortable with. Before making decisions, take a moment. Give the folks at Eureka Contracting and Roofing a call like I did for a no-pressure inspection. They'll assess the damage, determine if it's insurable. If it is, they'll guide you through the insurance process, and your only out-of-pocket expense will be your deductible. Eureka Contracting and Roofing, 636-938-ROOF, eurekacontracting.com.
You want to give someone something which they will really enjoy? Give them a Cafe Napoli gift card. You pick the amount, and they pick which of the Cafe Napolis they want to visit. Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Cafe Napoli in Town and Country, Napoli 3 on the streets of St. Charles, or right next door, Napoli C. The Napoli gift card. It's the perfect gift for anyone, or your entire office. Cafe Napoli. Cafe Napoli.
Hey, it's Katie, reminding you to subscribe to our show podcast so you never miss anything that happens here at News Talk STL. Get our podcasts every day on the show pages at newstalkstl.com, or just subscribe to your favorite shows on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
This hour of the Dan Bongino Show brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
It's one of our P1s. Good guy, but definitely projecting us. Saying, Jim, how we're portraying Americans in this potential takeover by China using quantum computing and AI and a cyber attack as subservient little like lemmings that are just going to go along. Kip, I don't know what show you're listening to. I mean, you're a P1. You're here every day. I'm not sure we're listening to the same show, though. That's absolute projection on your part. I don't know. It's weakness or whatever. It's projection on your part. That's not at all what we're. The entire show yesterday and today has been about hardening up your personal infrastructure. Because Americans are absolutely resilient. And I made a point yesterday, and I want to challenge someone else, another listener who emailed me, Charles. And he said, Dan, you know, the end of the Obama movie about the cyber attack and the destruction of mankind, at the end, they say nothing's going back to normal. I disagree. I completely disagree. I think even given an apocalyptic scenario, massive cyber attack, say the entire north and southeast of the United States is disconnected. You've got a near like 28 days later scenario with no zombies, right? Even if everything out west was fine, everything here's the roads, you can't get out. The military can't get in. No, I think in about 3 to 6 months, you have some semblance of a life back. I'm not saying you'd be back at your job in a coat and tie, but I think there'd be. Why? Because I live down here in Florida, and when you talk to people who've been through, you know, Hurricane Andrew and major destructive episodes, you know, they're back in housing and basically going to work in 3, 4, 5 months. Some of them, they're not back in their house, they're not wearing their clothes, but they're living a life that resembles at least somewhat like it was before. So, again, I'm not sure what show you. I appreciate the commentary. I don't mean to sound snarky, but that's not at all what I'm suggesting. Americans are an extremely resilient group of people. We are. We've been through a lot. The Revolutionary War, the Civil War, World War I, World War II, the hippies, I always throw that in there. We survived that. But you got to get prepared. This is what worries me. What worries me are the Vichy libs. You know, France had a problem with this. Other countries around the world have had a problem with this. They're not the only ones. They've had an issue with collaborators in their own country. We've got them here. You've got, sadly, tens of millions of Americans who really believe America sucks. The white evil male patriarchy is the source of all corruption and evil. That America was built on stolen land. They steal land now. They're an imperialist empire. They have Darth Vader and the emperor in charge. I have zero doubt that if there were some national level apocalyptic type event, a cyber attack or something like that, that the leftists who did remain, say, in charge in some leftist areas, or maybe there was some semblance of order, that it would be mere moments before they invited in a tyrannical style system and ushered it in the United States to take back social control. I have zero doubt. They do it now. There hasn't even been a cyber attack or an apocalyptic type event. And everything I described to you is already here. Censorship, police state tyranny, weaponizing federal government, people destroying our military, trying to institute central bank digital currencies. It's already here right now. I mean, China's dog walking garbage can U.S. politicians right now. Swampy Republicans and communist Democrats. I want you to listen to this. Cut 4, Jim. This is on Epic TV. This is Tiffany Meyer over there. They're reporting on China leading the world in tech. Folks, you're not bothered by China's laser-focused march towards beating us in the quantum computing AI race. The threat of AI in itself is for another day. But the reason it's a threat is no matter what we do about artificial intelligence, China's not going to stop. If they produce a super intelligence before we do, I would like you to explain to me, if you're a detractor, many of you are not, you're picking up what I'm putting down. But if you're a detractor and you think I'm crazy, please explain to me how it would be any different than us fighting Neanderthals. We're not even millions of times smarter than Homo sapien neanderthalis or Australopithecus africanus, whatever our, forget my anthropological terms. We're not millions of times smarter. We may be hundreds or thousands of times smarter. You create an artificial super entity, 1,000,000 times more intelligent, and the Chinese Communist Party gets a hold of it first. I'd like you to explain to me, using your big boy words, how that doesn't give them an advantage in subjugating us almost immediately. How? Here, listen to this report on this. Check this out.
Is the U.S. losing its edge in science and technology? A security think tank highlighted that concern in its Thursday report. The key findings? From quantum computing to hypersonic missiles and future technologies, China is surging ahead.
And whoever gets the breakthrough first wins. Okay. Actually, that's not what China's doing. They are maneuvering in all technology worldwide, both offensively and defensively, to generate a competitive advantage.
Yeah, they are. And I haven't heard an explanation because I really would like really smart, intelligent people, maybe have more computing power than I do. I don't claim to be the smartest guy in this broadcasting audience right now. That'd be ridiculous. There's a bell curve of intelligence. I'm probably, I don't know, maybe at the median or something like that. It's all right. I study hard. Sometimes a little hard work makes up for that, but it's true. I think I got like 1070 on my SAT. I just read a lot. Sometimes the best players don't make the best coaches. Sometimes it's guys like me whose computers maybe don't work as fast, but have to spend more time on the details and then explain the details better to others because they spent more time on them. But I'm concerned about it, and I haven't had anyone explain to me why I shouldn't be concerned about a massive cyber attack on the United States if China were to beat us in quantum computing and AI. Why wouldn't they do that? Oh, because they like us. Oh, they like us? You have zero evidence. Do you understand that the Chinese Communist Party right now does not have an active military-to-military channel with the United States? Do you understand that? You can look that up, by the way. No, of course they do. What if miscommunication and nuclear war? Look it up. Get back to me in 5 minutes. Because they care so much? Biden keeps begging them. Hey, can we please set up a channel for SecDef Lloyd Austin to talk? Like, no, thanks. We're good. So you're telling me they're trying to avoid nuclear miscalculation by what? Not even talking to us about it? Good job there. Listen to this. You want to see how much more powerful quantum computing is than the digital standard computing power we have now? The binaries? Listen to this. This is from 60 Minutes, the SIR network. SIR!
Sir. Sir.
This is Michio Kaku. Luckily, he's not talking to the SIR lady. He's talking to Scott Pelley. But this is a good segment because it's not 60 Minutes talking, but someone other than 60 Minutes. And he's explaining the difference in computing power between quantum computing and standard computing today. And I just want you to imagine, again, if the Chinese Communist Party develops an application, excuse me, let me say this precisely because precision does matter, develops a quantum computer easily accessible to them and their military and usable without the sub-zero temperatures needed. If they develop this before us, we're in a lot of trouble. Take a listen.
Yo Kaku, of New York, already calls today's computers classical. Uses a maze to explain quantum's difference.
Let's look at a classical computer calculating how a mouse navigates a maze. It is painful. One by one, it has to map every single left turn, right turn, left turn, right turn before it finds the goal. Now, a quantum computer scans all possible routes simultaneously. This is amazing. How many turns are there? Hundreds of possible turns, right? Quantum computers do it all at once.
All at once, folks. All at once. You're sitting there navigating a maze. What do I go left? Oh, that didn't work. There's a wall there. What do I go right? Not a quantum computer. A quantum computer, due to the uncertainty of quantum states, figures out all possibilities at the same time and then instantly figures out how to solve it. How quickly before they develop a way to crack our encryption? Have you thought about this? Let me give you a scenario. I discussed it on the pod. You have money in the bank, right? You want to cause absolute chaos and civil meltdown in the United States. Forget the simple stuff. Oh, they could crack the encryption for our nuclear codes and launch a nuclear weapon. Yeah. And by simple, I don't mean less tragic. I just mean, yeah, that's what I get a lot. If the Chinese Communist Party develops AI and quantum computing quicker than we do, what if they just have it crack our military code? Okay, well, pretty easy to understand. Then the one I use a lot. Crack the code to our water filtration plants, which probably isn't even that hard, by the way, and screw up the mixture and sewage flows into your water supply. Everybody dies of E. coli. Those are all horrible. But I want to throw one out at you. A lot of people in the world own Bitcoin, and let's be honest, most of your assets are digital. They are. If you have a bank account, let's say you got 50 grand in there, 100 grand, that's a lot of money. Say you've got it in your 401k. Well, a lot of Americans have $100,000 in their 401k. Do you really have $100,000? Yeah, I've got it. It's got the bank statements. No, you've got a piece of paper that says you have $100,000. You don't have $100,000. I mean, go to your bank today and ask them for that. Watch her. They'll laugh at you. They'll be like, number one, there are tax consequences to exercising that. Number two, we don't keep that kind of money on. You know why? I had to pay for a car 3 years ago and had to get like $15,000, which is a lot. But folks, let's be honest. It's not like a ton of money. A good amount. I needed some cash for this car thing. I went to the bank. The guy looked at me like I had 37 different heads. He's like, what do you mean you need $15,000 in cash? I'm like, from my bank account. He's like, you can't just take your money. I'm like, but it's my money. You got to call in advance. We don't keep that kind of money. I'm like, it's $15,000. You're a freaking bank, dude. Your money is in digital binary bits right now. Your money's not held in cash. It's not backed by gold. Your money's not backed by anything. What if a quantum computing breakthrough and an AI breakthrough in China Let's just say they attack Taiwan and we get involved, and they've been holding on to this quantum breakthrough secret. We send an aircraft carrier over there. What do you call kinetic warfare breaks out, and fancy buff talk, right? We're firing harpoon missiles and other things. And China's like, oh, man, we're going to lose this fight if we don't do something. Let's just stir up some in the United States. Let's launch that bug. Let's call it Screw Up Bug. And we're going to launch it in the United States. And what it does is it infiltrates bank records and wipes them out and scrambles them. Other people get other people's money. You understand how quickly society would melt down? I'm not saying everything's going to go to hell and it's going to be 28 days later or whatever. But imagine being notified, whether through the internet or a text, that every one of your digital assets has been wiped out and the bank has no idea where they are. Oh, it's okay. I've got paper statements to back it up. Really? How long do you think before millions of people figure out that they can print up a fake paper statement too? Oh, yeah, I've got paper statements. Oh, no, but the bank would figure it out. They'd have the records. Oh, they would? I just told you they'd be wiped out because an artificial intelligence millions of times smarter than us could develop some kind of virus to wipe that out. You would have no idea. You would have no idea. Neither would the bank. Everything you ever had to be wiped out like that. What, you don't think stuff like that could happen? I could totally see China with a backdoor plan for that right now. Cause enough chaos to get everybody distracted. Back off in the Pacific here, and we'll give you the code to get this thing back, or whatever it is. I'm going to take a break. I got to talk about more of this, because this is what it'll look like, the United States in the aftermath of all this, and it ain't pretty. We'll be right back.
Bongino.
As we head into a presidential election year, one thing you can be sure of, 2024 will be tumultuous. How will your hard-earned savings fare? You already see the impacts of inflation at the pump, the grocery store. The dollar continues to lose buying power quicker than wages can increase. How are you protecting your savings? Diversifying with gold from Birch Gold Group. For decades, gold has been the choice of investors and central banks to hedge against inflation. Now you can own it in a tax-sheltered IRA. Birch Gold. Just text Bongino to 98, and Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. They'll help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold without paying a penny out of pocket. With an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of satisfied customers, me included, you can trust Birch Gold too. Text Bongino to 989890 for your free info kit. Text Bongino to 989898 now. Performance may vary. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision. Message and data rates apply.
Dan Bongino. Agree.
I think conservatives have it wrong.
Or disagree.
I couldn't agree with you more.
The conversation happens here.
I agree with you on Trump.
I'm shaking my head. I'm one of your liberal Democratic listeners, and I don't get why any of this even matters.
Because your voice matters.
Everybody told him he couldn't do it, and then he did do it.
That's what you got to do. You got to play hardball.
So I want to hear what people think and be able to talk about it.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Like any good conservative, we have our principles and our values.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world,
I don't even know how conservatives can even take their head out of the ground long enough to complain about anything.
You're trying to call us conservatives Nazis.
I think they ought to be ashamed.
it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
All we want is freedom and liberties and less government. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I'm an American.
Welcome home.
Because everyone gets a voice.
This is News Talk STL.
News and information.
Welcome home.
Mom, what do you always say?
There's nothing sadder than jewelry that sits in a drawer.
That's why we are proud to offer jewelry repair on site at Newstalk's Fine Jewelry. We know that your jewelry is important to you, and we take that part of our job very seriously. Visit us at Doherty Ferry in Big Bend or learn more at wowdiamonds.com.
Diana from Newstalk's Fine Jewelers here to remind you, we don't just offer the best pieces, we offer one of the last master hand engravers in our country. My father can create timeless, personal, and unforgettable pieces. Come by our showroom at the corner of Big Bend and Doherty Ferry or learn more online at wowdiamonds.com.
Getting a new floor for your home can be intimidating and a little scary, but that's not the case when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michael's, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peter's. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Hey, it's First Alert Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton from Channel 4, and we are proud to be the official weather source for News Talk STL. Just like you've grown to expect from us at Channel 4, you can expect the same accurate, detailed, and timely weather coverage from News Talk STL. The First Alert weather team will keep you ahead of the big weather changes. And the one thing you can count on in St. Louis, the weather is constantly changing. So Channel 4 and News Talk STL are committed to keeping you up to date and safe.
News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
That if you or someone you love was injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, you deserve financial compensation for your medical expenses, lost wages, pain, and suffering. Don't rely on insurance companies to look out for you. If you haven't spoken to an attorney, call our legal experts now. Work accident, truck accident, collision with an uninsured driver, or a slip and fall. Allied Injury Group has helped clients win hundreds of millions of dollars in damages. They're available 24/7 to take your call and fight for you. Remember, if you or someone you love suffered injuries in an accident that wasn't your fault, like being struck by a drunk driver, a collision with an 18-wheeler, were a victim of workplace negligence or more, get the financial compensation you deserve. Call Allied Injury Group for a free consultation now.
881-1815. That's 800-781-1815. Again, 800-781-1815.
Four out of 5 Democrats secretly listened and learned something. The Dan Bongino Show.
Hey, one thing. In the beginning of the show, I just want to thank you. I know I thank you always for joining us on this radio show. Now that we're here for extended the contract out, I deeply appreciate it. These program directors that carry the show are good people. You know, they're running in a tough business, man. The content space is really hard. Jim, you know it, man. They're fighting with podcasts, cable TV now. I mean, anyone can pick up a camera and do a show, and that's a great thing. Information's been democratized. But I appreciate your loyalty to this specific format. Radio's not going anywhere, but I also appreciate your loyalty to Rumble. Folks, over the last few days, we've had an average of 98.5 thousand people watching us at 11 o'clock. It's the biggest streaming show in the United States. And they stay for the radio show. And I want you to know, I appreciate it. The Rumble story is one the media is ignoring because Rumble threatens all of them. And they're terrified of it. Thank you for not ignoring it. I appreciate it. It's always asking me for my password. I'm just trying to buy a simple song. It's like, get on the ball here, man. Jim's playing some Riley Green, who's becoming quickly my second favorite performer after the great Morgan Wallen, who's amazing. My next concert, by the way, is going to be in May. I'm doing Morgan in Nashville. So come say hello. I haven't decided which night yet, but last time in Houston, we had a blast. A bunch of people came over, and the weirdest thing was more people want to take a picture with Paula than me. I was kind of like, oh, hey. I said, this one lady, can I get in that picture? She's like, no, it's okay. Jim's like, Jim, that actually happened. I told you, right? She's like, no, it's okay. I was like, I was really just kind of kidding, but then I was like offended. I'm like, why can't I get in? Well, I'll take a picture with Paula. That really happened. Everybody loves Paula. It's a big celebrity now. You can't have 2 famous people, by the way, in a marriage. I told Paula, you can't get famous. We'll have to get divorced it works. You cannot have that. She cannot get famous. Nobody asked to take a picture with Paula ever. Save my marriage.
The Dan Bongino Show. Portions pre-recorded. Online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same? % cheaper, and you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Bongino.
Are you paying? With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Mexican immigration officials are moving to clear a migrant encampment on the banks of the Rio Grande River, as U.S. officials met with Mexico's president to press for measures to limit a surge of migrants reaching the U.S. southwestern border. Meanwhile, a caravan of at least 7,500 migrants continues to march through Mexico. U.S. southwestern border. People from 24 different countries are believed to be part of this massive group. Stocks are higher in mid-afternoon trading on Wall Street in muted trading as 2023 nears its finish. The Dow is ahead 74 points. The S&P adding 7. This is SRN News.
In Dinesh D'Souza's new blockbuster movie, Police State exposes the government's plot to control MAGA conservatives.
These are anti-government.
We have freedom of religion and freedom of speech.
Violent extremists, and they must be dealt with.
MAGA Republicans threaten the very foundation of our republic.
Mass surveillance. Armed attacks. There's nowhere to hide.
FBI, we have an arrest warrant.
15 marked units on my property.
Military-styled assault. An automatic rifle at my head.
Are we becoming a police state?
It may be the Russia other people grew up in, but not my America.
Directed by Dinesh D'Souza, Debbie D'Souza, and Bruce Shuley. Police State sounds the alarm.
What we need is a person, and then we go find out what crime you did.
How did we give the state this kind of power?
Police State. They have their lists. Are you next?
If they're coming you.
Police State. Buy it or stream it now at salemnow.com. salemnow.com.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
So what's going on?
Right here.
To me, this looks like the run-up to World War II.
News Talk STL.
They're playing with fire. Democrats are destroying the country.
News, analysis, opinion.
Is your family prepared for the financial burden of losing a loved one?
Are you aware of the cost of a funeral?
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial could help you qualify for lifetime permanent final expense insurance coverage with no medical exam required.
Just answer a few health questions, and once accepted, your rates never increase.
Do you have diabetes? High blood pressure?
Have you had a heart attack? A stroke?
No problem.
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial can help protect your legacy.
Call or text 314-866-8886. That's 314-866-8886.
To learn more about permanent lifetime final expense insurance coverage.
Benjamin Schaefer with Senior Memorial could help you qualify for immediate coverage by answering just a few health questions.
Call or text 314-866-8886 or learn more at memorialplans.com. That's memorialplans.com.
Policies underwritten by Senior Life Insurance Company, not available in all states.
The Freedom Principle and News Talk STL invite you to a special St. Louis City Town Hall on Friday, January 12th at the Immaculate Heart of Mary Church. Join moderator Tim Jones and expert panelists for a crucial discussion, Building a Better, Safer St. Louis City. Learn what legislators are doing in Jefferson City to protect and build a safer community for all citizens. The St. Louis City Town Hall is free and open to the public. Visit freedomprinciplemo.org for more information.
Columbo and Katie.
Just a few days away from 2024 and less than a week till the start of the legislative session in Missouri. We'll preview the session Thursday with Representative Justin Sparks at 2:20. Then we'll talk to Dr. Randy Tobler at 3:05.
Weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL. This hour of the Dan Bongino Show brought to you by STL FenceWorks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit STLFenceWorks.com.
Be heard. Call 844-4-the-USA now to let Dan know what you think. 844-484-3872. The Dan Bongino Show.
Man, my friend is so nice. So orthodontics guy. He's such a good guy. By the way, happy birthday to my mom today. My mom, Judy. It's her birthday. Judy. You know, not a lot of Judys anymore. You know, it's one of those names you don't see around anymore. You know, Judy Garland and all was very popular in the 50s and 60s. But you don't see a lot of Judys anymore, which is kind of weird because it's actually a really nice name. There are, you know, some names that just aged. So don't get all offended. My name is Dan. So listen, that's always at the top names of like jerks is like Dan. No, I'm serious. Like names of jerks. Like, so I get it. Like I sympathize with Karens. Always get mad when I bring up Karen, but there are names that age, you know, Bertha, Agatha. Agatha was my grandmother's name, ironically. They age. They just, people don't like them. Why? I don't know. They just fall out of favor. But Judy was a really nice name, and you don't meet a lot of Judys. Like when I meet a Judy now, I'm stunned. It's so rare. But that's my mom's name. So happy birthday, Mom. Come on, take a note. Make sure, call Mom. I don't want to forget. You know, birthdays, you get older. Got to make sure you don't forget those. Someone sent to me during the break, too, on Twitter. They said, Dan, I think you're right. It's like they're trying to tell us something. Right after Jim sent to me a movie by, what is it, Alex Garland, coming out, the guy who did 28 Days Later or something like that. The movie's called Civil War, about the breakdown of order in civil war in the United States. I can't tell you enough how, like, people who are in the know, Hollywood types, politicians, you don't find it strange they're all interested in these now Civil War societal breakdown movies while simultaneously the China threat grows? I don't know about you, but I like to keep my eyes open out there like Clockwork Orange style and see what's going on. Bat signals are going up everywhere. I look at them. Because what I'm afraid of is not even so much a mass societal breakdown in the United States, because I think we have the resilience and the individual personal infrastructure. A lot of us are prepared, a lot aren't. But that we would get through a massive cyber attack or an EMP. I'm not telling you be pretty. I'm not telling you it's going to be cutesy time, because cutesy time is way over. But I think we would get through it, and life, I believe, would get back to normal. Part of that may be a spiritual thing. I just feel like, no, it's not like a dork or anything, but I don't know. I want to sound like some kind of weirdo. I just feel like God bless this place. It's just different. Don't you ever feel that way? I mean, we made it through all of these events. We shouldn't really be here. The Revolutionary War, the Civil War. We should have lost and melted down and lost our national identity with all of these events. And yet we're not only still here, despite all the bad leaders and oatmeal brains in the White House and all these other people, we're still the most powerful country on earth. I feel like God chose us for something.